All right, now let's see if this is working. I see. I see a lot of people. First of all, I see many people in my audience. This is good. This pleases me, as always, for it would not be a show if I did not have an audience. Let's see how the tube use is doing. The tube use is saying, the YouTubes. My apologies. The YouTubes is saying that my stream health is currently at a yellow light. I'm not quite sure what that means. It is a yellow light right now, and perhaps it is because it is reflecting the complexion that a celestial god has, of course, being a very yellow golden dragon. So perhaps the use tubes is perhaps mimicking my sort of my complexion in honor of Chinese New Year, which of course is the theme of today's stream. So before I begin, I must begin with my obligatory greetings to you all. 恭喜發財，身體健康，龍馬精神，心想事成，萬事如意，and of course 新年快樂. Basically, I had just bestowed many blessings upon you and your fellow family members, wherever you are, wishing you lots of good health and longevity and wealth and all of that nice, all that good stuff that you have. Usually I would be the purveyor of dye in many cases, but of course with Chinese New Year being a celebration, a revelation of a new year, we have survived another one in the lunar calendar, that is. So today is not about the dye, but so much more about the the celebration of, well, getting to start all over again. So in effect, the previous year has now gone and died because, well, let's be honest, I don't think anyone thought of 2016, or the previous calendar year, whatever yours was a particularly good year. It was a bit of a wreck, to say the least. And now that we are into a new year for most of us in the Western calendar, we are now in 2017, and now for the Chinese New Year, we are officially into the new year. So here's to having many more blessings and a much more positive new year to all of you. So with that being said, well, where did I put it now? Well, with that being said, I would have to cheer or toast, of course, to my audience in order to solidify that claim. And, well, usually on occasion I would drink out of my good little friend over here, of course, because he holds all of my sake and he understands my drinking needs, and he does not call me a drunkard, of course. He has much more respect than that. Usually I would drink out of him, but well, I decided that tonight I would go a little more safer. The reason being is that the Chinese are not quite known for their craftsmanship or brewing skills. And the stuff that they make, let's just say, there's a reason why they name it after, ghouls or demons or, something of the dark arts or voodoo or something like that. And that reason being is that this stuff is potent enough that it could drive out all the demons and ghouls that exist within one's body and mind. So, of course, being an old dragon, I would not want to risk that, because the stream would end very early in that case. So, in that case, I shall set this aside for now, and I will be sticking with something a little more safe that I would be able to handle. I am an old dragon after all, and that would be this lovely giant bottle. Well, it might not seem giant beside me, but it is quite big. It is a lovely bottle of Kiwami Junmai Dai Ginjo, which is, of course, that translates to really good stuff. And of course, we have lots of polite company with us from all around the parts of, well, wherever the world is so far. We have many guests that are watching from Europe, many from North America, of course, many from South America, and I know that I have recently accrued a few more fans from abroad. So welcome one and all to the Grumpystream, the first one of the new year, and appropriately on Chinese New Year. So I shall remove the little Canadian cap from my Kiwami over here so I may enjoy it. And before I do pour myself the first glass, I feel terribly miffed at the fact that I forgot to present this during my last stream in September, or not September, oh goodness, my old mind again, in December, that is. And what I had forgotten to use in that stream was a lovely little gift that I had picked up from Midwest Furfest, and that lovely little gift being a customized wine glass featuring none other than myself. Here, let me hold it up to the camera. You can see right there it says Tien Long, and I'm not sure if you can see there's a sort of a graphic of myself holding a glass of wine, and, well, of course, being the consummate wine drinker I am, with the consummate V's and all that. See, it makes a V shape here, so it's very consummate. Yes, yes, indeed, consummate V's. And so I have myself my own personalized wine glass for acting even more snobbish and more indignifying than I actually am. Ah, well, with that being said, it's sort of empty and sad if I don't put anything in it. So I think I shall do so, and I encourage you, my friends, if you are joining me tonight, to grab yourself something to help set the mood off right. I know that some of you are opening up bottles of sake in different parts of the world, and I am able to sniff out the different aromas of each and every one, so I know that you're all enjoying yourself, which I can very much appreciate. There we are. We'll have the first bottle. Oh my. Oh my, indeed. Oh my. It's almost completely crystal clear, this one. I know that Uncle Kage knows what that means. When a Junmai Daiginjo is completely crystal clear and it has no traces of color or sediments of any sort or any mistiness, that means that this is indeed a sake of the highest quality. And yes, I shall acknowledge the fact that I am drinking Japanese sake on a Chinese traditional holiday. And yes, I will take that to my fault, because an old dragon simply does not like what the Chinese have to offer in terms of alcohol. And I've already made my reason clear why. But regardless, it is a time for revelation and a time to celebrate with one another. So here's to all of you. May all of you have good health, good spirits, and good company with one another. Cheers to you, my friends. Gongbei. I must not get carried away on the first sip. Oh my. I'm not sure if it's the glass that's drinking more or I am, because as you can see here, that I am also on the glass as well. So there's like double the efficiency. I'm drinking while I am drinking from a glass. It's like that yo dog meme that used to be around. It's like, yo dog, I heard you like drinking, so I put a Tianlong in your glass so you can drink while you grump while you drink. I'm old, don't blame me. I don't know how to meme very well. Us old people do not meme very well nowadays. We leave that to you youngsters. But, of course, in the spirit of Chinese New Year, one must, of course, have the traditional greeting of sorts with all of my elders and whatnot. And believe it or not, I do have elders above me. So this morning, as with Chinese custom or celestial custom, one or the other, I had gone up to the skies and visited my elders up there, those that are, well, if I claim that I am over 9,000 years old, these guys would be like over 90,000 years old. So they're the real old ones up there. These are the people that you hear about, in the beginning there was nothing and then there was light. These are those guys. But yes, I went up to them and I did all the greetings, sort of similar to what I had done to all of you in the beginning. Yes, good health, good spirits, lots of money and all that. And of course, in return, you would expect to receive a blessing. And that blessing comes in the form of, well, in human speak, they would call it curry. Yeah, a little bit of wine stock. They would call it currency, of course. So, of course, they would put it in this red envelope, as many of you may be familiar with, and they would hand it to you, and you would take it in, and you would say, oh, thank you, gong hei lei, gong xi ni, and then you would run off and you would, do whatever you want with it. Whereas up there, it's sort of a, if you don't do it, you get your ass kicked and then sent back down to Earth for retirement. And I was thinking to myself when I went up there, well, I'm already retired down on Earth, so it's not like they could punish me anymore. Oh, was I wrong whatsoever? Was I wrong indeed? Because, well, it wasn't necessarily myself that had gone up to visit the elders, but rather it was my human that I had sent. Of course, I'm all old and retired down here on Earth. I don't want to move much. I'm already comfy down here in my den with my French guardian dragon over there. He's just being French and guardian like, and all of my other things I have. There's Xiaolong Bao ran off somewhere else. But yes, I am all comfy down here in my den, and well, they seem to. I sent my human off to do all the elderly greeting and whatnot, and the first things I heard booming down from the sky were, I wanted my dragon son. Where's the dragon son that I have been promised to on this Chinese New Year? And the human that I sent up above, well, he did not have an answer. He could not answer on my behalf where I was. After all, they had expected a regal, golden celestial dragon, the one of the most majestic in being. And, well, they just could not settle with a dinky little human, this sort of squeamish, nervous, shy, geeky-looking human, and it was just utterly bad for him. I don't know where he is still. I have yet to find him, but I hope that they're not keeping him up there as like the pet monkey or pet rooster or sorts. I would need someone else to then go fetch my sake. Perhaps one of you out there would be willing to go and fetch it for me in his stead. But, of course, mentioning Rooster, this is the year of the Rooster, that is, yes, the year of the very tasty chicken, as you may have seen in the header that I had made for this stream, in terms of, all those images and things that you'd seen. But it is the year of the very, very tasty chicken. Now, I was supposed to have a chicken with me to, sort of co-guest, be my co-host for this edition of the stream, but, well, you see, I didn't really have any dinner before I started this stream, and, well, of course, you see, the rooster looked very good, so I took the rooster and I put it sort of slightly in my mouth, and then a little more, and then before you knew it, I had dinner. So I apologize if the year of the rooster just suddenly ended. We can move on to the next one now. So, well, that's that. Yes, New Year's done now. Go home, kids. The year of the rooster has now finished. Let's move on to the dragon year, which is all the way in 2024. Oh, goodness. Well, as long as you're old as I am, time isn't really a concept that matters anymore. But I have done quite a bit of yammering and blabbing so far. Let me see what there is going on in the chat right now. And before, I had warned before, please refrain from throwing cocks or chickens or roosters or whatever sort, whatever strange hybrid of the three. Please refrain from throwing those around in the chat room. I do not want a live clucking session going on in my chat room right now. And please refrain from, please refrain from making any very rude, cock puns or jokes of any kind. We do have some polite company, and at least for a little while, I would like to seem like a dignified and, celestial dragon, for lack of better words. But yes, what is the chat saying right now? Let's see. The real 1337 says specialty rooster is very good, Tianlong. Well, I do very much agree. So I do like my chickens, a little on the round and plump side, of course, and depending on the mood that I am, perhaps I'll have them nice and fresh, or I'll have them, slowly broiled and, put on a spit and, just slowly turning around and round like that, and terrible thoughts. Anyhow, yes, roosters and chicken. Yes, very good. I recommend it for your for all those youngsters that want to grow big and strong like dragons are. Sadly, not so much for myself. I just eat it because I'm shameless about it. Oh, let me see. Oh. And of course, someone's already said pre, and of course, all the youngsters are then going to go pre, and then all of a sudden I will be forced to go pre, and everything will just suddenly turn into pre. As long as you don't start a howl, I know how you youngsters are about howls. Oh. Let me see. And Volt says I made a cock pun earlier, Tien, but I don't think you saw it. Ha ha. Well, stop talking cock, Volt. You should know better. You don't talk cockla. Oh, let me see. And Aldia Karufis says, Tien, what was that about you tweeting about getting fat? Well, you see, it is Chinese New Year after all. You have to be able to enjoy yourself and learn to let go sometimes, especially when you get as old as I am. When you get as old as I am, there's no one really looking at you. There's no one that really, has their eye on you for, looking good and looking in shape and whatnot. So I can use that as an excuse to let go and simply not care about my appearances. Now, luckily for me, celestial dragons and their appearances sort of keep themselves maintained, so I don't really have to do much to look good. But at the same time, I should still watch what I'm eating. Otherwise, I might not be around for for many more years. That is. And Jurgen909 says I was born in the year of the dragon. What about you guys? What was that a boot? What a boot you are! We have a Canadian in here. I have spotted a Canadian. He said a boot. Yes, it is good to see a fellow Canadian in here. Eh? I hope that you had a good glass of poutine and Tim Hortons before you entered this live stream. Eh? Perhaps you can even catch the hockey stream at the same time. Did I say hockey stream? I was going to say hockey game, but perhaps they do have a hockey stream. Yes, of course. But yes, we have another Canadian. Ah. Yes, let me see. And, Bruzo says, so how was retirement day to my sensei? Well, Bruzo, my retirement day was actually about a week ago, on January 17th, 2017. Not a lot of youngsters know, but my official retirement day was January 17th back in 2014, so over 3 years ago now. And what I mean by retirement day is, well, as you can see, I'm quite old. I'm as old as the stars themselves, many stars themselves, and I've outlived a few stars. And, well, I can't really remember when my own birthday is, so, and I'd forgotten it a long time ago, so I just sort of settled upon using the day that I'd retired down to Earth from the celestial heavens up above as the sort of, coming to Earth Day or a retirement day, because, well, that's basically how I see it. The first day that I was here on this, tiny chunk of rock in this vast universe filled with, cosmos and, other rocks, other tiny rocks that I can, crush with just a single fist. I sort of just use that as the day that I came here to Earth, and that is my official retirement day or birthday. So January 17th, which has passed, so what I did during that day? I did nothing. I was a dragon. I just did nothing. Perhaps it was one of those cat days as well, and we all know what happens on those cat days. And let's see. Oh, Furry Trainer has joined the stream. Hello, Furry Trainer. It is good to see you here. And I see that there's quite a different collection as well of names that I have not seen before. Again, if you are joining the stream for the first time, I welcome you here to the stream. Thank you for joining me. And if you are returning, it is always good to see you. And what else is going on? Let us see. Xiaolong Bao says, Uncle Kage, well, I could go try and fetch Xiaolong Bao, but then I would leave my wine unattended, and in these, well, celebratory times, it would make the wine all sad, and then, as you can see, you might have this Tianlong over here finishing the wine for me, which would leave this Tianlong over here all sober and sad, and the stream would be that much less interesting. Though at the same time, that reminds me, if you have not checked your mail lately, Uncle Kage and Grandma Kage, because Grandma Kage should be the one that receives it, do let me know if you haven't received that little thing that I've mentioned over the past couple of weeks. I'm still waiting to hear your response. And X Michael Michio, if I am saying that correctly, asks, will I be at Anthrocon? Which I reply, I shall be at Anthrocon. Anthrocon is a convention that I am sort of doubly obligated to be there, as well as, it is one of my main and favorite conventions to be at. So the reason why I'm obligated to be there is that I have been pulled on board by my human slave and perhaps by the persuasion of other human beings to help out a little around the convention because, well, I guess the Celestial Dragon has nothing better to do, so I guess I can lend a hand or two in smacking humans about, or, well, thinning the numbers a little if I get a little hungry, if you catch that drift. Anyhow, let us see what else is happening. Specs Wolf Husky says, I hope you're having a wonderful Chinese New Year. Oh, I am indeed. Well, today is the first day of Chinese New Year. It is known as Lin Tuo Yan Tuo Yi. And, well, it is basically the day where the biggest celebrations are had. All the big, grand, fancy dinners. Again, the waking up early in the morning and going to visit your elders so you may pass and shower them with 1,000 blessings and receive lots of shiny gold coins in return. Usually those gold coins are chocolate coins, sadly. But yes, and of course you have all of the celebrations and the festivals that go on around as well. You have all the humans in their cute little lion costumes running around and, waving the lions up there and jumping up here. And sometimes the lion eats a small human child or two, which is usually my favorite part. And then sometimes they feed the lion cabbage, which is for me, why would a lion want to eat cabbage? Does that lion look like it needs more cabbage? No lion ever walked into a Sahara or, savanna desert and said, gee, I would really like more cabbage right now. It is absolutely ridiculous the way that they make those poor lion dancers eat cabbage all the time. Ugh, they must be sick and tired of it. And what else, of course, is the loud racket of music that just goes dum 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 all the time, and all it does is give an old dragon a headache. To others, that might sound very exciting or traditional, and there's all the fancy martial arts that go on, in which I usually just stare on and shake my head silently. I judge them in Tianlong. Yes, I judge you in Tianlongish because, of course, me being the old venerable dragon who also happens to be, a very skilled martial artist myself, as all celestial dragons are. I can only look upon the human performers and sort of laugh a little quietly to myself. But it is all in good fun, of course. The Chinese New Year spirit, rather, is all about celebration. So we mustn't be, ruthless or, rude to any of our fellow Celestials or Chinese beasts. Let us see what else is happening. Yes, Walt says, well, everyone needs to eat their greens. Well, I don't know about that. I seem to have gotten off just fine on a mostly protein diet. And it's much easier to find as well. You sort of just pick up a little car off the street. You pick up a car and you sort of just shake about its contents and you open the car lid and you just and you toss the car away, and that's all the protein you need for the day. Yes, I'm a dragon. I can say such things. We dragons we normally just eat everything in sight. That's why it's called a seafood diet. You see food and you eat it. And what is it? Mighty 777 says, cockroach slave. Cockroach slave? Oh, cockroach slave! Oh, yeah, cockroach slave. Well, I don't know anything about a cockroach slave, but perhaps he might after his impromptu trip to Walmart recently, wasn't that right? And I know that Ramakage is also watching the stream right now. Good evening to you, good madam. And I know that she probably has at least half a dozen interesting stories to tell about said Walmart trip that had occurred just about 2 hours ago. I would be very, very much interested to hear about that Walmart trip at some point, perhaps when I'm next down in North Carolina. Hmm. Let me see. Aldia Carufus says, how about buses? Well, all the buses in that case are generally more like buffets for me. And if cars are little snack boxes, then I guess buses would be, well, not so much a buffet, but maybe like an appetizer of some sort. Airplanes I find are the best as well, because airplanes always have the added little wine cabinets inside the first class compartment, where I can sort of use that as a sort of mouthwash around after I'm finished with all the proteins and whatnot. So I find that, the ranking goes from, little car to a bus size to an airplane. Yes, airplanes are my favorite. I like those the best. Mm, yes, and Uncle Kage says, let's move on, shall we? Well, if you insist, after all, it was only a very, very painful to endure Walmart trip, I suppose. I will have that on my mind all night long. Walmart, 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 Wally World. I don't know. It's something amusing to think of. The venerable, respectable Uncle Kage and his dignified mother walking through a Walmart, and Grandma Kage pointing to every sign that says sale, which is, well, every single sign in Walmart, and Uncle Kage having to pull her away from said sign, and she goes to the other direction, to the other sale, and he has to, no, 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 this way, and it's a constant tug-of-war battle between, oh, look, it's a sale, and it's like, no, no, we do not need that sale, let us move on and get what we need. I'm going to have that image in my mind all night long now. Although I do have to applaud Grandma Kage on that, because she would fit right into a Chinese market with that sort of mindset, especially during this time at Chinese New Year, where literally the only day where everything is on sale would be Chinese New Year. The Chinese culture where they try to get you for full price, or the highest possible price, 364 days of the year, no haggling, no refund, because it's a very good deal and whatnot. The only one day that they would be willing to, sort of haggle down their price or get a good deal at anything would be Chinese New Year. So, Grandma Kage, if you have not gone out and taken advantage of the levity of all the Chinese folk that are around, I suggest that you try to do so. It is, after all, only once a year that you're able to go up to a Chinese person and rip them off without them being angry about it. And if they are angry about it, well, you wouldn't know anyways, because they'll be speaking in foreign languages. Mm, Alexander Lawson says the year of the firecock. Uh, okay, well, moving on. Yes, firecock. Yes, very nice. Firecock. That's, well, technically there is the literal translation. There is the literal translation for firecock in the Cantonese language, which would be "fo gai," which is literally fire and chicken or cock. Except then that would translate to turkey, because apparently a firecock is a turkey in the Chinese lexicon. I don't know how that works, but I guess they took a fire and they took a cock and they turned it into a turkey. I don't know. I didn't invent this language. Don't ask me. I just sort of, celebrate in it because it gives me another excuse to drink, which I should, seeing as I haven't done so in a while. I nearly went off camera for that one. That would have been a short stream indeed. Just look at Tien on his Chinese New Year stream, and and he's off camera. It is too easy for a celestial dragon to get carried away when he's enjoying himself during such a joyous time in his schedule. Ah, Unfortunately, it's a time where I don't get a lot of time at all because, well, I am too busy, trying to fulfill all of these celestial obligations and filial obligations as well, which means, family obligations. A celestial dragon has a lot of family to attend to, some of them which are retired down here on Earth with me, and many that are in the celestial heavens up above. So this is a very busy time of year for me. But on this very important day of New Year Day for Chinese New Year, I wanted to at least see all of my audience members and, wish all of you a wonderful New Year in the Chinese calendar. So I am glad that you are all able to join me tonight. And Gumi Bjorn, it is good to see you. Cheers to you as well, my friend. Let me see. Yes, and Juj909 says, Chinese just think chickens are hot this year. Well, aren't they hot? Chickens, served hot and steamy, and, they're very much saucy at the same time. Anyhow, yes. Well, let's see what else people are saying, too. Volt Ashko says, mainly your big brother who has yet to show up. Well, I don't know, Volt. Perhaps my big brother has been taken away by one of those hot and steamy chickens. You never know. After all, I heard they have great cocks running about this time. Yes, see, terrible cock ones. I need to stop making those myself. We have polite company here. My apologies. Let us see. Tien, will you be at MCFC in April? Furry Trainer says, well, yes, I will be at Motor City FurCon in April. It is also a convention that I happen to attend, well, more or less because they have this advocacy for alcohol, which I can get behind, especially as one who is an enthusiast of alcohol. Well, with that being said, the alcohols that they advocate at Motor City FurCon are not exactly of my taste. But at the same time, the alcohol prices for things such as sake are far cheaper than what I would get up here. So that gives me all the more reason to attend Motor City FurCon once more. And I do believe that Uncle Kage will also be there as well, so you shall see myself and Uncle Kage, as well as many other amazing performers such as Alkali and Pandas and Xander and Drago and many other good fellows, and I do hope that I can be performing with them at some point or another at that convention. And Alexander Lawson asks asks sort of following up, Tien, headed to First Squared. Now, First Squared is a little bit of a tricky one for me, seeing as how the week before I have a sort of an annual trip now that I make. I have an annual trip that I make down to south to where it is much warmer in the month of February, but if I'm able to manage a little bit of time off and, able to get myself out of bed, most days I'm unable to because of my back, then perhaps I shall be at First Squared. It is not confirmed at the moment, but there is the possibility, and if the chance is good, then I shall take it. Let me see. Rugrat Diamond, is that it? Yes, Rugrat Diamond Tail says, notice me noodle Sampi. What is a noodle Sampi? I'm not sure what a noodle Sampi is. It's almost sounds like, some sort of a noodle Thai dish or noodle, Malaysian dish of some sort put together. That's making me quite hungry, actually. But those kind of dishes are the ones that I would usually have. Well, I can always hope. Another big trip that I will be hoping to make as well later on this year will be in August, when I set my sights upon the city of Berlin, and perhaps its people as well, depending if I'm in the mood for some German-flavored protein. But I shall be doing my very best to make it to Eurofurence this year. I am dead set on it, and I shall fly myself if I have to. After all, I am a dragon, albeit a very old one, and I will hope to finally experience the hospitality of Eurofurence and its, sort of famed attendees and hospitality and friendliness of which seems to know no bounds, essentially, and especially the bar, which seems to be quite generous from the stories that I hear. So this year, a dragon will finally come through on his intent to attend Eurofurence, as much as it is possible. And I see there are some others that have joined us as well. Good evening to Kalesh and to Full Cloud. Full Cloud also asks, Tien, Who is your favorite China gods or goddesses? Well, that's an interesting question that you ask indeed, fool. My favorite China gods or goddesses? Hmm. Well, of course, there are many famous figures of myth and legend. Whether you consider them gods or not is completely up to your subjective view. One of my favorites, of course, would have to be the legendary warrior Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, one of the most famous and one of the most well-known of the Chinese culture, of course, and his sort of well, his sort of prowess, not only his prowess in martial arts, but him as a character as well. Very impish, very roguish and wildy, but always had this very fierce loyalty and, good noble sense, and, always always being, sort of the shining figure of monkey kingness and, this whole sort of traditional noble warrior type. That's one of my favorites as well. Other Chinese gods that I like as well. Well, I do not like Neza. Neza he's a sort of another Chinese god myth. He's a sort of a little prince who also beat down another dragon god for his for one of his legendary weapons. There's a dragon god, one of the gods of the four seas, known as Ao Kong, and he basically used to rule the eastern seas, and he was very powerful, very sort of feared because he would suddenly ravage the lands for no reason whatsoever, just so people would fear him. That's my type of guy. But then suddenly this noble prince Neza came down and sort of beat him over the head multiple times, and he tried to then go to the boy's father, who's another god as well, and the boy beat him down again, and well, just made him look like a fool. So that one is definitely not on my list of gods I would like. I have to think about that one. There are just simply far too many. But I mean, Sun Wukong is definitely on my list. He is not only the most well known, but I believe should be the most well respected. Let me see. BT. Oh, I missed that message whatsoever. I do not like the chat box in the YouTube live stream creator studio box thing whatsoever. It's so small, and the comments seem to scroll up a lot faster than they used to be with the first stream, the previous streaming site that I and Kage had both used. Unfortunately, the site is no longer being maintained, which is why we have switched over to YouTube. But we shall see how it goes. I shall not give up on anyone or anything just that quickly yet. Let me see what else is being said. And somebody says, "Notice me, Daddy." What is this daddy thing going around? I've heard youngsters calling me daddy a couple of times, but I don't feel anywhere even close to a daddy. I would be more, in fact, a grandpa of anything. I would be more of a grandpa dragon. I don't want to know whether or not that qualifies me for some sort of special title or award, but I will let the youngsters do their thing. When you get to a certain age again, you just simply learn not to care. The youngsters are having fun, and I am having sake. So you have your fun, and I have my sake. And for Chinese New Year, that does not result in die, which is good for both of us. So you have your fun, you youngsters, and I shall have my sake. And well, anyone else that has their drinks as well, you shall have yours. Cheers, my friends. It's like the sake is making me go off camera. Very interesting. I do not know what properties of sake that makes you sort of veer off of camera. Or maybe it is the camera that is doing the going off, off tilt or scale or something like that. And it's all perception after all. We don't truly know whether or not the camera is moving or if it's the dragon moving. It could all just be a trick of the eye. Or, of course, I could be just talking out of my arse and not know because I am an old dragon and technology is difficult for me. Heck, I am surprised that this stream is even running at the moment. Me and this, I had to do all this fiddling around and making sure the two U's was, connected and my face was not looking too yellow. I mean, I am Chinese, but not too yellow. And I was all dressed up and, looked all, good and ready for Chinese New Year. Let us see what else is going on at the moment. And Volt Ascor says it's the new class. You are getting double drunk. Well, I mean, everything in Chinese New Year is double everything. You get double happiness, double lucky, double bows, double hugs, double cocks, double chickens, double drunk. Double drunk is, I think, not too bad in comparison to everything else. So, well, double drunk it is. I shall continue to stick with this double drunk. After all, it does work quite it does work quite efficiently. Oh goodness, the sake is having a fight with the cock that's down there. I mean the chicken that I had digested earlier. Let us see what else is happening at the moment. Something. Uncle Kage says, Greek Yoshi, remind me a week before the convention. I shall bring you some sake. Well, huff. Well, I assume that's for Eurofurns, and for Eurofurns, well, perhaps both Kage and myself will bring some sake to sample for those that are polite and kind enough to request if you've never had sake before. After all, he is a gentleman, I am a old grumpy celestial fart. So, well, I guess we'd be fine parting with some of our sake if it means, enriching a youngster's brain with the joys of it. Let's see what else is being mentioned at the moment. Double cock sounds like a plan. Yes, of course, the cock puns are coming out now. Well, it didn't take very long for that, such as the brie and the awoos, of course, not too long for the double cock whatsoever. That image, you may be wondering, was the one that you saw for the thumbnail for this live stream. It was an image from Motor City FurCon 2000. I believe it was 2015. Yes, it was Motor City 2015 where that image was taken, and that was taken with that, the big fat rooster on my head, and that rooster actually belonged to Tilt Longtail. Tilt Longtail from Florida, who is better known by his other characters such as Brer Fox and Grypher, and, well, I had not even noticed that big cock was sitting on my head. And, well, someone happened to snap a shot of it, and I had seen it, and I was wondering who'd put a cock on my head, and then someone else said, oh, look, this guy put his cock on your head. And I said, well, why is his cock on my head? And he said, because it looked funny. And I said, well, I shall eat him. And then his cock, and then the conversation ended right there and then because I ate the other person, and that was that. Yes, there was a lot of usage of the cork in there, as you can tell. It didn't take very long at all for that to sort of just side rail all the way to, going from the tasty chicken to the rooster to just downright cork. This glass really is going double drunk right now. Either this glass is, or the sake is marketed at a lower alcohol percentage than it actually is. One of the reasons why I did even choose the sake was because they had scribbled out the original 16% alcohol content on the label, and they had put in another number which was almost an entire percent higher. So I thought to myself, ooh, this would be a good one for a celestial dragon to stay warm and fuzzy with. Well, in manners of speaking, but yes, warm and fuzzy with on a grumpy stream, and it seems to be working a little bit too well for my liking indeed. Old grumpy celestial fart, says VidType 619. Tien is space flatulence confirmed. Well, I'm not quite sure if you know what that is like. I certainly do not know. But yes, space flatulence, that is very flattering. Space flatulence, yes indeed. Sir Goet says, Tien Long, you eat too much funny things. Well, I don't know about eating too much funny things. I just seem to eat the things that I see that are eatable, or edible, rather. I like to say eatable. Eatable has a nicer, more fun ring to it. Yes, again, like I explained earlier, the seafood diet. Uh, let us see what is happening. What surprise photos do you remember the most? Says Luigi Man. Well, Luigi Man, surprise photos. Hmm. That is a very interesting one indeed. There is a lot of candidness that goes around in terms of the photography that is taken of me, usually when I am walking or sitting or grumping or doing a combination of one of those, any two combinations of those three. It would be difficult to walk and sit at the exact time. Sit walking, maybe? Hmm. I should have to investigate sit walking at some point. But yes, surprise photos. Well, there was one that was very recent, which was at Midwest Fur Fest 2016. And, well, this candid photo moment, I believe, was taken by the photographer from Nevada by the name of Ao Lun. Yes, he is Chinese as well, and he even has Ao in his name, which is the royal name for dragons. And he had taken a photo at Midwest Fur Fest of myself and a curious creature known as Lifrin, or better known as the Wowski, because he would very often come up to you, or, well, not really come up to you, but at any given point at a convention, he would just suddenly go, wow! And you would sort of just turn around and you'd be like, who said that? Who said that? Who said the wow? Who was the wow? And you know, the wow is sort of like the woo in the sense that it is extremely contagious. For the first time that you hear it, it's sort of like it sticks into your mind and it's ingrained in there, and you cannot help but hear the wow from then on, from that point onwards. So at that point, the next time you hear oh wow, you must go wow with him, and it seems to have affected me as well. For at that point in the convention, he was going, wow! And at the same time, I had gone, wow! Right beside him. And, well, it seems that this Kowloon photographer fellow had captured that exact moment where he and I were both going, wow, at the exact same time. And I thought that that was very, very adorable, albeit, well, indignifying for a celestial dragon. Luckily, Owlin escaped before I could sniff out where he was, or grab him inside my fist and squeeze him to a pulp. But, well, next time he won't be so fortunate. If you'd like to see that photo, I don't know if anyone would care to go through my Twitter, but if you go into my Twitter and you go through the media, you might see it as one of my Fursuit Fridays. It is a photo of, again, the Wowski Lifrin going like this and saying, wow, and then you'd see me right beside him going like this and saying, wow. And he's gotten many a people I've seen in person. He's gotten many a people and many a person and many a beast, rather, into saying the same things as well. I know that Uncle Kage himself has been a victim of the wow quite a few times too. I can often hear Uncle Kage in the presence of the Wowski all of a sudden break out into a fit of wow. Ugh. And now, as you can see, the whole chat is going, wow, wow. And I see, and I see an, wow, 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 wow. And of course, the chat has now devolved into furry memes. Well, I knew I shouldn't have done that. That was a terrible idea. That is youngsters for you, and I shall drink to that. You youngsters have your wows, and I shall have my wow sake. Yes, my wow sake. Cheers to you. I had to sort of keep myself still there. I had to hold on to a piece of the air as I was drifting away, and I had to pull myself back. Goodness, this double drunk thing is fun, but it is quite dangerous at the same time. Ugh. Or perhaps I need to tell that Tien on that glass to stop, getting me doubly as drunk. It's almost as if I am osmoting the alcohol from the glass that is being soaked in sake back into myself. Perhaps that is what is happening. Oh, that is a very dangerous combination indeed. Oh, well, I must warn you then, Uncle Kage. Uncle, when you get your little gift, which would be delivered to Grandma Kage, you might need to be careful of that yourself. Yeah, we might have similar effects going on. Ooh. And Yoshako's Raptoridis, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, asks what volume are usually sake bottles like those? Ah, goodness. Well, usually sake bottles like those range between 15 to 17% alcohol rating. So if you compare it to a regular white wine, which can go anywhere between 10 to 11% alcohol rating for regular white wine, a Riesling per se, then sake is probably like, a Riesling and a half, put into a bottle and it's made with rice instead. And well, that might fit some people's palates and it might fit some people's alcohol tolerances. But again, the best way to know is to try. And sake, of course, being a sort of exotic, mystical drink, might not be on everyone's palate. That being said, I'm quite sure that wherever you are, Greek Yoshi, that you'd be able to find some sake wherever you are. Hmm. And my big brother has joined. Big brother, it is so good to see you. 恭喜你啊,恭喜你啊. My big brother in Singapore had celebrated Chinese New Year a full half day ahead of me, of course, because Singapore, they're time travelers there, so, they live the high speed life, they are not waiting for us over here in North America, where we're more slow and like to kick back and take things a little bit more easily. So he has already celebrated the first day of Chinese New Year, and he is now on to his second day over there. So I hope that you are now more prepared to take on more roly fat noms and all those bows and all that stuff, big brother. My big brother has a tendency to sort of bow it up quite a bit during these sort of holidays where you have to eat all the bows as much as you can and then you sort of roll around on your back and go no. That is the way of the celestial dragon. Let me see. And many people are now saying, "Oh yes, greetings, Chinglong Chinglong. My big brother has arrived." Yes, big brother. Right now it is about 7:53 a.m. over there for him, almost 8 a.m. in the morning. So he is a full 13 hours ahead of the Eastern time zone. Again, he has already celebrated his first day and now is on to the second because, well, apparently I am too slow for him. He's all blue like Sonic the Hedgehog and he's got to go fast. Ooh. And Geek Crusher says, Happy Chinese New Year, Tien Long. Well, thank you very much. It's very good to have your blessings on this very joyous occasion. And for anyone else out there that may be of the Chinese or celestial creature descent, well, a very, very happy Chinese New Year to you as well. 恭喜发财. Let me see. And Rugrat Diamond Tail says, now for Xianlong Bao. I don't know if there's a Xianlong Bao around, but Xiaolong Bao is still not returned yet. I'm actually getting quite worried because he was supposed to just go and fetch some more of those, red pockets and things for me. He's quite a good sort of wheeler dealer where he can sort of, weasel out all of those red pockets from, unsuspecting souls, and in return, well, I don't know what they get in return, but I'm just hoping that I get my red pockets soon so I can make up for this sake. And Greek Mushi says, Tien, persuade your brother to come to Europe. Well, I don't need to do any persuading for my big brother. He himself has been to Eurofurence before, and well, now that he is here in the chat, I believe he can probably speak for himself regarding his experience in Europe. And Great Crusher says, you look really elegant in your shirt. Why, thank you very much. Although it is a vest as well as a shirt. As you can see, I've got my nice vest here, my nice pure silk vest in gold, and then I've got my traditional shirt underneath as well, also pure silk, and that's getting a little too much. Yes. Hmm. And Indigo Ryu says if Tien comes to Europe, I owe him sake too. I owe him a sake too. Well, of course, the singular is better than none, and I would be more than happy to take up that offer. So I shall expect to see you at Eurofurence then, Indigo Ryu, because that will be my debut in Europe officially. And no, I do not consider going to Confuzzled last year my debut into Europe. I don't need to explain why, of course. Let me see. And Altorio says I haven't really adapted to these Chinese traditions. I am too melded into Aussie traditions. Well, I do not blame you whatsoever, Altorio. The Chinese traditions themselves, they're a little bit... I was going to say traditional, but that would have been redundant. The Chinese traditions themselves, they're a little tedious, is what I would say, especially if you are trying to honor each and every tradition. Goodness gracious, do you know the phone calls you'd have to make and all those bills, those long-distance phone bills you'd have to pay and all that sort of stuff, especially if you're trying to call up to the celestial heavens? Goodness, the rates going up there are ridiculous. They're definitely trying to scam you out of your money there. Let me see. Gatecrasher says, I apologize for the misunderstanding. There's no need to apologize. After all, it's not readily evident what I am wearing here, of course. All you see right now is Celestial Dragon Tianlong and, you know, the nice shirt and the vest and all that sort of stuff. So there's no need to apologize. Let me see. And Brenda Ferris asks, are you going to First Squared this year? Oh, I had already answered this earlier, but I shall answer it again. There is an opportunity. It is not confirmed, but there is an opportunity for me to be at First Squared. So we shall see whether that opportunity pans out or not. And, well, if so, then I shall announce it as soon as I can. And Rugrat Diamondtail asks, Tien, will you be on the Grumpystream? Well, the very first stream that we had done, which had inspired the name Grumpystream for my stream now, was actually with my big brother himself. He has never been on the Grumpystream with me at the same time in person, side by side, although I would really dearly hope that we get the opportunity to one day. Perhaps whether I'm in Singapore or whether he comes and visits his little brother in Canada, it would be nice to have both of the celestial dragons at the same time. Then you could really watch me embarrass my big brother by hugging him and stugging him all stream long. Let me see what else is going on. And the Fireman Savage says, is it difficult to wash your shirt? Well, usually it's very difficult to wash any sort of silk at all. Silk is a very delicate fabric. It is easy to rip. It is not easy to get rid of stains. And, well, in general, it is something that is more of, you know, sort of a pomp and circumstance. It's not something that you would wear every day unless, of course, you had that sort of ability to wear it every day. And I'm talking about financial ability. This would be something that you just bring out on special occasions and wherever you would not be expected to do any sort of hard labor or work. So, with that being said, this is quite difficult to wash, and I try to maintain it as best as I can. Of course, a celestial dragon, and well, all dragons, we have to keep up our appearances in order to hide the fact that, again, we are cheap old drunken bastards with nothing better about ourselves. Let me see. And I see that there are many different things happening right now in the chat. The chat is chatting, which is, I guess, what it is good for. Meanwhile, the Celestial Dragon drinks. The chat is chatting while the Celestial Dragon drinks. Uh, mm, hmm. No, 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 no. And I drink while I can, as it seems the world is going to ruin bit by bit. And all one can do, especially up here in the frozen north, is stay warm and stay as happy as possible with each and every sip of a good sake or a fine wine. And as the world goes bit by bit, you try to cling on to the goodness that still exists in the world around you and in your own personal lives as well. Uh, so I've been following the news recently about all the human affairs, the human political affairs happening in, happening south of my Canadian border, and of course having its global impact, well, whether it is intended or not. And frankly, I don't know whether or not this is something that will really continue. It's a nightmare so far that hasn't stopped, but at the same time, we all remain optimistic. We will have that moment where we snap awake and, well, there's a different outcome of the world. Let's just say that. But of course, this stream is not for, political discussion of any type, nor is it for, sort of harboring any negative feelings towards anyone. But with that being said, I hope that if you are experiencing a time of stress or a time of anxiety for whatever reason, that watching the stream and keeping me company, and conversely, me keeping you company, would help in some way. So, again, I thank you if you're joining me tonight to alleviate your stresses or anxieties, and I hope that I'm able to do so. Yeah, let me see. Ironic how Chinese New Year is the same day as the Challenger to Disaster, says Baron Sable. Well, it so happens that Chinese New Year this year is happening quite a bit earlier than usual. Chinese New Year, sort of in recent memorable times rather, is usually slated to happen mid to late February, but it just so happens that, just like with the Western calendar, there is a leap year there's a leap year in this year's Chinese New Year, and that's sort of offset it back into January for some odd reason. The way that they calculate it is using very complex charts and, lots of scholarly debates and a whole lot of alcohol before they discuss and, develop the Chinese calendar. And it just so happened that they decided that this one would be a little bit early in the year, the Western year that is, versus, well, traditionally. And let us see. And Indigo Ryu says, I have a kilt. Well, that is very nice that you have a kilt. I have never seen, nor do I want to have a kilt on me. I've never seen a celestial dragon with a kilt, was what I had meant to say. And I don't think that I would look good with a kilt either, because that means I'd have to wear nothing underneath it. And, well, there's not really much that anyone wants to see underneath a kilt for a celestial dragon. And let me see. And Tien Long, why is your heart nose-shaped? Well, I'm not quite sure why it is nose-shaped. It just happened to be nose-shaped after here. You can take a look for yourself. See, the celestial dragon's heart is just sort of nose-shaped because that's how celestial dragons roll. We sort of have a attractive shaped nose, so it's sort of like the big bad wolf when he's hiding in bed, and the little the little girl goes up to his bedside and leans in for a closer look and says, why is your nose so big, Mr. Long? And Mr. Long then looks at her with his maw open and fangs braced at her and says, all the better to eat you with, my dear. Or something along those lines. But yes, this is a very attractively shaped nose, so that, well, the victims that I have for lunch aren't as suspecting of my intentions. And no, I see you youngsters are starting to say butt-shaped and butt-nose and all that sort of nonsense. None of that, you youngsters. Have a little bit more respect for a celestial dragon on Chinese New Year of all days. Don't they ever tell you to respect your elders? Huh. Let me see. Gumi Bjorn says no more sake for Tianlong with the nose-shaped heart. How about the nerve of you, Gumi Bjorn? You of all youngsters should know the importance of respecting a celestial dragon's property, especially his peculiarly shaped nose. Bah! I shall have more sake, in fact, just so I can be rebellious to you. More sake for me. Nom 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 nom. There we are. And Altoyu says, it is a running gag by now, Tien, it is a running gag, Tien, you should expect it by now. Well, expecting it is one thing, tolerating it is another, and frankly, I have not even begun to get close to tolerating such nonsense by you youngsters. Back in my day, I've had youngsters cold with a cane on the rump for less than that. Let me see. And Volt says, I'd like to see you stop him, Gumi. And that is correct. I'd like to see him stop me with the sake and whatnot. Especially now I've got two Tianlongs. I not only have myself, I've got the Tianlong that has been ingrained into the glass itself. It is almost as if it is my personal wine guardian within the wine, just like the wine guardians that I had given Uncle Kage for his Christmas present. And for those of you that have not seen the Christmas present I have given Uncle Kage, go on his Twitter and, again, go into the media posts and, go and find it. I am quite sure that you'll be highly amused, especially since those dragons, according to Kage, have Stalin mustaches rather than, dignified noodles. So I don't know when those dragons defected over to the Soviet side, but, well, they are the dragons, so they are dragons is what I meant to say. They can't really be told what to do when they're in cat mode, and I suppose that they did get into that at some point. And Greek Yoshi says, Silver Gatomon, you are in my mind. I would actually say the same. Tien in a kilt? What is this Tien in a kilt thing? First there's the whole Tien butt nose, and then there's the, the Tien's butt, and then there's the Tien something, and now there's Tien in a kilt? What is going on here? No one wants to see Tien in a kilt. Huh. Oh, good. What did I already say earlier? There's nothing to see underneath Tien's kilt, and Tien in a kilt in the first place would just be outright ridiculous. No one wants to see Tien in a kilt. And Baron Sable said, back in the day you had a cane. Well, I did not say I had a cane. I said they would be cold with a cane, which is like culling, which is to completely slaughter an entire crowd of, impudent youngsters with a cane. That being said, I do have a cane now. I have my dragon pimp cane, which again I used to pimp other beasts. And if you haven't seen it in action, I take my cane and I'm, all walking along like I am the Monopoly man, yes, and I take my cane and I boop a fursuiter on the muzzle, and that fursuiter has instantly been subjugated by the royal Tianlong, the Lord Tianlong, in fact, because I would be in my fancy white tie tailcoat, and they would then be my subject to go out and get snuggles for sake, and of course they would then deliver that sake to me. You see, it's very fun being old, because then you get to just get to automatically subjugate youngsters to your doing. And when you're as old as I am, that means that no youngster is off limit. Well, with that being said, there are a few limits for the youngsters. Well, let us see. And there are some... Oh, wait, what? A Speedo, says Greek Yoshi. Okay, Now you guys are going too far. You're all cut off. You, and you. You're all cut off of whatever you're drinking. Now you're just imagining Tianlong in the most ridiculous of outfits. First a kilt and now a Speedo. Bah! There's absolutely nothing down there to see, let alone put in a Speedo. You all have sick tastes and imaginations. Blech. You all need to drink some sake and just sit back and think about what you've done. That is exactly what I would do, which is exactly what I shall do now. Hmm. No, 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 no. Oh, then that glass is almost empty. It is now just about over an hour since the stream has started. I shall actually quickly beg all of your patiences, as I need to quickly attend to a very, very small matter, but it should only take no more than a minute or two. So I shall quickly turn the microphone off, as well as the camera off, and we shall treat this as a very, very quick intermission, quicker than the ones that I usually do. So just a minute or two again, and we shall be back on. Again, I beg of your patiences. Alright, let's see what I can do here. Let's turn this off, and I shall try to put on that lovely elevator music again. I shall be right back. Hold on. Alright, and we are back. I apologize for that. It was just a very, very quick disturbance that I had to check upon. But nonetheless, it is now taken care of, rather. I have already taken care of it, of course, and now we may continue. Well, looking at the time now, I'd say that we have perhaps another half an hour before I begin the noodle doodlings, the drawings for all of my patrons for tonight. And well, speaking of my patrons, now is a better time than ever to properly thank them in this stream for their patronage, of course. So now, looking over here at my patrons list, we have as my patrons, who I'd like to thank for providing their support for my stream as always, we have Trottle Bear, we have Altoriu, we have Silver Gatomon, Silent Dawn, Volt Ashcore, Indigo Ryu, Arabian Darkstone, BT Werewolf, Various the Dragon, Maverick the Dragon, Mikasi, and Dragon. So all of my patrons I would like to thank sincerely for their support of my stream and for joining me on all these nights, tolerating a celestial dragon and his endless ramblings, because somehow they always seem to be entertaining. I'm not sure why, but then again, I don't really understand a lot of things about those, youngsters, or how the human brain works and all that sort of stuff. So I shall just continue to keep doing what I do, which is talk endlessly until I pass out from sake. Ah, now that I can switch back to the screen over here, and that's a little better. I notice my glass is looking mournfully empty, so I shall fill it up once again with some lovely Kawami. In my Daigen Joe. That is a good amount right there. Ah, fine sake indeed. Cheers to all of you, my friends. Gong Bei. Very, very much tasty indeed. Ah. Baron Sable says his nose looks more like a hidden double-barrel shotgun. America is all I have to say to that. America. Yes, moving along. Moving right along. Wonders what it would take to get Tien to twerk, says Silver Gatoman. You know well enough that I do not twerk, let alone do my butt shots very often, especially with polite company around. I do hope that Uncle Kage and Grandma Kage are still watching somewhere around as well. But yes, you know more than well enough not to let it make a celestial dragon even more undignified than he already appears to be. Indigo View says Tien's glass is way smaller than mine. Well, small glass indeed, but perhaps I'm compensating somewhere else. Anyhow, moving along, yes, Year of the Rooster and all that. And I see comments, business, numbers. Is this working? Indeed. It is a new year, and a new year usually comes with new resolutions, but a celestial dragon doesn't really have anything to resolve. Celestial dragons, we have it on lock, yo. We have things figured out most of the time, I guess. We can't really figure out where the wine has gone to. Where is the wine? Why has the wine always gone? Those are the two things that I believe would need resolving. Right, let me see here. Kicking myself up a little bit. I might as well enjoy myself on this Chinese New Year. I might as well sort of take a tip or two from my guardian celestial dragon up there. Not celestial, rather, my French guardian dragon. Yes, my French guardian dragon, because I guess well, French dragons aren't celestial enough. Not quite yet, at least. He's got a ways to go. Perhaps I'll promote him one day. See, there's absolutely nothing down here that would be quite, that would be quite pleasing to see underneath a kilt. There's nothing down there whatsoever. Well, I cannot see the chat from that position, so let me readjust myself. Let us see what is going on here. Draw me like one of your Chinese dragons, says I'll pour you. Well, if you insist. And Dynamite says, I can just imagine Tianlong trying to run Anthrocon. Running Anthrocon. I'm not that old yet, Sonny. And it seems, I've accidentally knocked a cap over the. Where has that? Get back here, you cap. You wine bottle cap. I can't seem to find it. I knocked over a wine bottle, my sake bottle cap just now. I don't know how that happened, but there it is. So pick that up. There we are. I threw it away somewhere. I'll find it later. Then I see something. What happened? I see quite a few youngsters laughing at something right now. Did I do something that I did not intend to do? I sure hope I did not. I'm not trying to become, unruly for all of these youngsters, nor am I trying to invite them to be themselves. And M. Kenny says, nice artwork in the background there. Yes, well, as I've explained, that is my French guardian dragon. I haven't really given him a name yet. Actually, that is a very good point. I haven't named my guardian dragon up there. He's been doing quite a good job sitting up there being all French and painting himself like one of his French dragons. But I've never really given him a name. I don't know. Perhaps we should name that dragon. He needs a proper name, a proper guardian-like name. Nothing along the lines of, like, Larry or Bob or, something like that. I'll have to think of a name sometime soon for my guardian dragon. Perhaps it has to be a French name to fit his status as a French guardian dragon guarding my wine cellars. No, he is not being named Bob. I see something. I see people saying Bob, 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 Jumbus, Sam, Bobby. Nothing Bobish, okay? Nothing Bob for a respectable French guardian dragon such as himself. Let me see. Kenny says, could name him Tianlong Jr. Well, I could do that, but he's not really a junior version of me. Xiaolong Bao is more of a junior version of me. He's sort of like the wannabe baby type. The French guardian dragon over here is already a full-fledged adult. And, well, he is of a different heritage. He's not quite a celestial dragon such as myself. So it would not be appropriate to give him a celestial name. Let me see. I see many, many different suggestions. Something. I see more Bob. Please don't tell me that there's more Bob saying around. Bobby Hill, Bumby, Jumbus, something. I'll have to think of it later. Perhaps I'll put it up to a poll. What should I name my French guardian dragon up there? We'll have to find something appropriate, something classy enough, but yet, something that would also not be a burden to pronounce whatsoever. Let me have another sip of my sake over here. Nom, nom, nom. Yes, and let me see, what else is saying? Greek Yoshi says, name him Lazy Dragon, but. Lazy Dragon, but for a respectable French guardian dragon. Well, now that I do think about it, all he does is just sit there and look pretty. Well, I mean, technically, some could use that to describe me whenever I have one of these streams, as I just sit here, drink, and talk and look pretty, or even when I lay down here and imitate that same French pose as he does. He sort of has his front legs going here, and he's looking off into the distance, and he's all regal and whatnot. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't showing anything. No, I was not. Goodness gracious. I should not try to recreate French dragon poses. This might put me in danger. Let me see. Yes, claws on glass, says Silver Gatomon, with a heart shape. Yes, claws on glass. Do you like the sound of my claws on the glass? I could even do the whole, wedding speech tinkling as well. Yes. Oh, there's such an amusing time where my human slave had accompanied Uncle Kagi along with a few other stuff guys from Anthrocon. If you don't know about the stuff guys, they are the people at Anthrocon that basically make everything move around, in one piece, that is. And they were doing the annual cleanup in October, where they go back to Anthrocon's storage locker and they clean it all up and they inventory everything and make sure everything is in order, of course. And, well, I don't remember quite who started it, and neither does my human slave, but one of them had started, doing the whole licking your finger and circling it around a glass, an actual glass, wine glass and crystal wine glass sort of thing, and doing the whole water crystal wine glass sounds. I'm not sure what it is called, but then it suddenly became like its own little meme for that entire day, where literally every time the group had sat down, we would all take our water glasses, check if they were crystal or not, and if they were, we would instantly all start making our own little water crystal glass orchestra. And, well, we pretty much freaked out all of the patrons that were sitting around each of the establishments, and we quickly gained a bit of notoriety for ourselves, especially when we then took our crystal water glasses back up into the room of one of the gentlemen and continued to rehearse our lovely art. It was quite a fun time, it was. Let me see. And I see people are still submitting more names for my French Guardian Dragon. I've got Guanzhou, let me see. Silver Gatamon says, I think I might need new pants. Well, that's a very interesting name for a French Guardian. I don't know. Would this dragon here fit the name, I think I might need new pants? I don't know. He's not really currently wearing any pants right now. Then again, neither am I. Oh, goodness. I'm not wearing any pants. You youngsters should not be looking at what's down there. I promise I was not this undignified before. I had hastily hopped into the dragon bathing pools before the stream started. I did not have time to put on all my clothing. Anyhow, yes, I think I might need new pants. Might be a little bit too obvious of a name for our friendly French Guardian Dragon over there. Let me see. Oh, Uncle Kage says call him Ham Sup Long. Why? Because he's all naked and looking all regal and, sort of inviting with his Frenchness and his guardianness. Is that right? Well, I mean, any dragon that has that sort of, look at me, I am all French and I am a dragon, and paint me like one of your French dragons. Any one of those would need a name like Hans Up Long. Of course, you would not know anything about being called that title, would you now? And Walt Ashko says, or call him Chibaila. Yes, Chibaila. Well, I suppose I could paint him with squintier eyes, and then he could be called Chibaila. Yes, that's true. That's quite true. I could give him squintier eyes, and that would be more appropriate. Let me see. And Greek Yoshi says, Tien, nudity can be qualified as art. Well, I'm an old dragon who knows absolutely nothing about art or tastes or trendiness or anything contemporary or, that requires a lot of abstract thinking these days. Perhaps it's the sake or the double drunkenness that is affecting that. Well, if you say so, then yes, I guess naked dragons do qualify as art. For celestial dragons like myself, I like to prefer a little bit more decency about myself. As you can see, I am once again dressed in a very traditional yet very appropriate and regal-looking Chinese attire to celebrate the New Year's, of course. These lovely celestial robes of mine, which I may or may not have borrowed from my big brother's closet. Yes, big bro, I did it again. What is my big brother saying now? Yes, my big brother is saying inauspicious! Inauspicious may be a name for that dragon. Although, again, I'm not sure about that mouthful. That whole word is a mouthful for a single dragon's name. I don't like it when they're a mouthful. I like it when they're easy to pronounce, one syllable at a time and all that. What else is happening with the chat box? The chat box sort of... Oh, there we are. Let me see. How long is this stream is going to last? Asks Georgia909. Well, on average, the stream usually lasts about 3 to 3.5 hours, and the reason being is that, again, I am an old dragon, and unfortunately, as much as I would like to stream, it gets very taxing on an old dragon's body to stream for more than that amount of time. But with that being said, I always believe it is about the quality and not the quantity. And if anything that I do or say in this stream has made your evening a little bit better, then my job as an entertainer is done. And that is taken off with the words of Uncle Kage, who, as a performer before myself, had been saying pretty much the exact same thing for his streams as well. So I have to credit Uncle Kage for being one of my mentors in terms of an old dragon taking up this whole live streaming thing. I've been doing it for about a year and a half now that I think about it. The first stream that I had for Grumpy Streams being back, I believe, in perhaps it was December, November of 2015, something along those lines. So maybe not a year and a half, but at least an entire year. Ah. Actually, if I remember correctly, my first Grumpy stream actually was in January or February. I'll have to check the records. But yes, it may actually be almost the 1 year mark of me hosting these streams. My goodness, I had never realized that. It seems that time passes by when not only one is having fun, but when one is as old as I am. So in that case, time is passing doubly as fast, sort of like how I am getting doubly as inebriated because there are two Tien longs. So, well, if that is the case, I'll have to check later, but if that is the case that I have been doing these streams for a year or so now, well, I guess that also marks a 1 year anniversary for me then of some sort. I'll have to double check. That's probably not right, but regardless, I'll use it as an excuse to drink again. Ganbei, my friends. Good stuff indeed. And Gummibjorn says poor Uncle Kage gets blamed for everything. Well, not necessarily blamed, but rather Uncle Kage has been a very large influence for an old celestial dragon in terms of the performances that I have been giving so far, the ones that you see on the live stream, as well as the ones that you see if you see me in person. And, well, I do give credit where it's due. A celestial dragon is humble enough that I know where to share that credit, and, well, he has been doing it longer than I have. Remember that I have only been retired to Earth for approximately 3 years now, and, well, he's been doing the whole, impressing people and entertaining them thing for far longer than that. So it was only under his sort of guidance and advisement that I had even begun to do such a thing as this, and, well, of course, he and I, we have our little banters, which are always in good spirit and in sort of lightheartedness, but at the end of the day, he is a very, very good friend of mine and one of my mentors for doing these sorts of performances. But with that being said, he still owes me more sake. And there are youngsters saying, so cute for a celestial dragon. Moans, he's almost murring. Oh my. What? Um, uh, I deny everything. There is no evidence whatsoever. There is no Photoshop. There is no video. You are not seeing anything real. This is all Photoshop, in fact. This is not Tianlong whatsoever. This is a very cleverly done Photoshop of Tianlong moaning and purring and I give up. I need another drink. See, it's you youngsters that are the reason why I have to keep up this terrible habit, because now I need even more in order to forget everything that I had just said and experienced. Uh, mm, mm, Oh, there go. I just noticed. There goes the pinky up there. Oh, that goes for a double shot right there. The pinky went up. Huh? Well, both went those both pinkies went up now. That glass works for getting Tianlong double drunk. Because now that I have two Tianlong on the glass as well, two Tianlong work better than one, of course. Ah. And yes, it's a CGI Tianlong, like Peter Cushing in Rogue One. Ah, yes, I do remember seeing that. Yeah, all the comments about yes, this was so heavily CGI'd in Rogue One. I had actually gone to see that movie myself. Now, granted, being as large as I am, I took up the whole theater just by myself, but I did see that movie, and well, I thought it was quite well done. I didn't even mind the fact that it was so heavily CGI'd. I mean, let's be real. It's a Star Wars movie. If there was no CGI, you'd be completely surprised. And the fact that technology has made such advances since the last classic movie, so to speak, well, of course, the CGI is going to be, the CGI is going to be there and a lot less evident. And I think they did quite a good job, especially that last scene, the very last scene before they cut to the credits. And for those of you that watched the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me see what else is talking about. Rohan the werewolf says a drunk dragon can be a dangerous dragon. Now, I don't know what you're talking about, drunk dragon being a dangerous dragon. A drunk dragon is simply a happy dragon, an excitable dragon. But we can be unpredictable as well. Now, whether you consider that dangerous or not is completely up to you, but I like to consider it more sort of interesting than anything. Let me see. Tien should be in a movie, says Silver Gatomon. Well, I'm not sure what kind of a movie I would be in. Perhaps I should be in a Stephen Chow style of movie. I've always admired those and found those to be of the highest comedic excellence, and I'm sure that any Stephen Chow fan would also agree with me. I don't know how I would fit into Stephen Chow, though. Perhaps if I were to take a Sifu role in perhaps Kung Fu Hustle, if I were to be the one of the grandmasters, one of those two grandmasters, perhaps I would be more of the lady that shouts at everything and is a constant grump and hates everything and hates everyone. That would be more of my character, indeed, especially because she kicks so much arse. And Brenda Ferris asks, what do you eat all the Chinese New Year? Well, you've pretty much said it right there. We eat all. We eat all during Chinese New Year. We eat a lot of seafood. We eat a lot of traditional Chinese food. We eat a lot of dim sum. We eat a lot of, pastries, some traditional Chinese pastries as well that signify, happiness and, a good new year and sort of the positiveness and sweetness and things like that. Things that I usually would not eat because I am the complete opposite of happiness and sweetness and optimism, of course. But for one day, I suppose, for per year, I shall allow myself to indulge in said feelings of happiness and sweetness and whatnot. Then again, Chinese New Year does technically run for 2 full weeks, so perhaps I have 2 full weeks to indulge in all of that before then I return to my regularly scheduled program of dishing out dye to all those that deserve it. And Indigo Ryu says, I would like to see a movie with Tianlong and Donnie Yen. Well, Donnie Yen is also a very fine actor himself, for human standard, that is. But yes, Donnie Yen has done himself and the Chinese folk around the world very, very much proud, especially with his recent appearance in Star Wars Rogue One, where it's safe to say he was one of the biggest hits of the entire movie, of course, being the blind monk or protector, the ex-protector of, the ancient temples, Chirrut. And, he was the one that really had the natural comedic timing and performance, being the sort of cute old, super kick-arse Chinese monk that he is. Furry Trainer says, Tien, I was born in the year of the ox. What can you tell me about the ox? Well, I can tell you that the ox goes very good with ketchup, and I would highly recommend so on Thursday night and pairing it with a glass of red wine. Yes, the ox goes very well with red wine and ketchup. Ah, let's see. Gatecrasher says 2 weeks of celebration. Way to go, Tianlong. Well, you can thank the Chinese tradition for that. The Chinese knew how to celebrate. After all, we work almost non-stop 365 days of the year. So, when the time comes to celebrate, we do it big. And, well, that's the only way to do it, I say. And the youngsters would say something similar as well, and along the lines of go big or go home. And in this case, I am home, so I shall go big. And I think that calls for another drink as well. No, 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 no. Where are you? Put me in a... That nearly went back up my nostrils. I was having so much enthusiasm with that glass. That double drunk is really taking in effect now. I like this glass. I like it a lot. I shall have to find the makers of this glass once again and see what sort of secret techniques they use in order to imbue a second Tianlong into the glass. Perhaps it's like they take a part of your, DNA, a scale, a single strand of fur, a single scrape of your skin or something of the sort, and they're able to take that little piece of your genetic composition and turn it into, a living organism encased inside crystal or something of the sort. And then that living, organism in crystal would then be able to transmit whatever, material touched it back to you. In this case being alcohol. That would make for a somewhat good script, I would say, for a movie. Perhaps that's the movie that I shall be starring in. Would be like a case of Tianlong in a 007 movie. That means I would be wearing my evening white tie, of course, and, having to stop the other Tianlong imposter who happens to be a crystal copycat of myself and, transmits all of the things that are terrible to me, so I am constantly riddled with pain and inebriation, although the latter isn't that bad, and has to, devise some sort of ingenious way to not only withstand his, incessant attacks, but also defeat him and send him back into oblivion. Yeah, I should be a scriptwriter. I will act in this movie. I shall make it a point to make this movie, and then, do all the cool stuff with it. And Jurgen says, I am going to sleep. Good night, Tianlong, and everyone. I hope you guys will have a good day/night. Thank you very much for joining, Jurgen. I hope that you have yourself a pleasant evening. And Furry Trainer, oh, that was from Gummibjorn. Wow, great to meet furries of an adult age. Well, it is glad that you can find people of your age, Gummibjorn. So far, I haven't found anyone that has been close to mine. Although Grandma Kage does come in quite close, so I guess that her and I are, well, more similar than most. Let me see. Esco Matilla asks, do you have any Chinese calendar to show? I do not currently have a Chinese calendar to show, mainly because I've been too lazy to go out and get one. And all the other decorations that I have, well, they're of the wrong year, unfortunately. I only have dragon decorations, and as we all know, this is the year of the rooster. So, the tasty rooster, unfortunately, has already been devoured, and I have nothing to show. For that, I apologize. Let us see what else. What else is there? Teach me your ways, Sensei Tien, asks Kari Goldclaw. I don't know what ways you're talking about. All I do is I talk a lot and I drink even more. I'm not sure what kind of a way that is. The way of the drunkard, maybe? Well, I just told you the secrets of doing so, so go ahead and practice. Goat Furry asks, Hey Tien and chat, what an awesome paint in the background. Ah, you mean my French dragon who continues to not have a name. Why, thank you very much. He sort of just sits there again and he continues to be French and whatnot, but well, perhaps one day he'll arise to be a celestial dragon such as I am. We'll see what happens. Hmm. Brenda first asks, what is your favorite con that you've been to? Hmm. That is an interesting question, seeing as how I have been to many a con, and, well, again, as old as I am, they all seem to blur together. I do have my favorites, which I return to every year without question, those ones being Vernal Equinox, as it is the closest one to myself, which I would consider my home convention. And then there's obviously Motor City, which I had mentioned before, a convention that has nothing but, appreciation for drunkards such as myself, which makes me feel instantly at home. There's Anthrocon, of course, one of the finest conventions and the current largest, of course. Let me see. There also happens to be Indie FurCon, is another favorite convention of mine. The folk at Indie FurCon are some of the finest that the fandom has to offer, and I highly recommend checking it out if you can. So those are some of my favorites, but of course every convention has different offerings for different people, so I recommend that you follow your own criterion for conventions and take a Celestial Dragon's words with a grain of salt. Let me see. Rohan says, dude, when I said use your head, I didn't mean it literally. Well, what's wrong with using your head? After all, that's what rams do, and well, considering I've got horns the shape of a ram's, well, I'd say that it's not too bad to use your head sometimes, especially since, some people need a good horning one time or the other. That's why we dragons are very horny. Let me see. M. Kenny says, Tien Long going to Vernal Equinox this year. Well, that is another convention that I will hope to be at myself, and the reason being is that my human slave is usually extremely busy during that convention, although he does have time for lots of socializing, of course. That does not leave a lot of time for myself to go out and do my own socializing, being because, well, Celestial Dragon, again, it takes quite a bit of energy to sort of get out of bed even, let alone walk around the halls of the convention and interact with youngsters these days. You all drive me back pain through the roof and, all irritable and grumbly. And then there's always that one youngster that comes with, that lovely shiny bag with a light coming out of it, and I sort of stare ogling at the light, and inside the bag, surrounded by crystalline lights all over is a bottle of sake, and that makes everything so much better. Let me see. Gota asks, have you planned to come in Euroferns? Well, yes, I do plan to go to Euroferns. This year, I have made it my utmost goal to attend Euroferns. I believe it is 23 or 24, one of the two. But nonetheless, I plan to attend Euroferns in August this year as much as possible. I intend to plan as much as possible, being said because, well, I don't know how many days I will be able to attend, but I am set on attending at least the full convention amount, which for me is usually around 5 days or so. Let me see. Gotaveri says, oh, he also says, yeah, his horn looked like croissants. What? How dare you say, I do not look like a croissant. I do not look, excuse me a moment here. I do not look like a croissant. My horns are very regal and dignified and very hornish, of course. They are not a French puff pastry made to satisfy the hungers of hungry youngsters or celestial dragons. I am not a croissant whatsoever. Bah! Let me see. And Kenny says I have back troubles too, but I don't complain. I just keep going like the Duracell bunny. I think you mean the Energizer bunny with that one, Kenny. But yes, I do understand what you're saying. Back pain, however, when you are as old as I am, is not just a matter of, sucking it up and getting out of bed. It is a matter of almost life and death, where, it's like, oh goodness, this might be my last day. This back pain is, confining me to my bed and I cannot move. And then, of course, I have this magical drop of sake then hit my lips, and, well, I'm all better again. So perhaps it really is the sake that keeps me going. In that case, well, I have no sake left, which means I cannot keep going. Now, of course not. I still have at least half of that bottle. Although I don't know if I'll finish the whole thing tonight. That is quite a potent bottle. Let me finish this last little drop off, and I shall refill myself. Mm. Mm. Good stuff indeed. Yes, that's for Silver Gotamon right there. Yes, this one's for you. There you are. Good stuff indeed. What time is it right now? It is 7:50 right now, which means that it is time for me to take a quick intermission, of course, maybe about 3 to 4 minutes, and I shall this time throw on some elevator music, and when we return, we shall be starting off with the drawings for all of my patrons that have donated to that amount or higher. So, we shall take our intermission as usual now. I shall throw on the elevator music, and we will then continue in a few minutes' time with our Patreon drawings. And I've received quite a few good requests, so don't go anywhere. I'm sure you'll want to see at least most of the requests. Alright, here we go. If I can find this thing. There it is. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, we have returned. I have returned, rather. Alright, let's see if we can see the camera. Can you still all hear me? I'm not sure if you can still hear me now after that brief little intermission of sorts. I'll have to wait a few seconds. There's about a 10-second delay between me talking right now and the stream. So I shall now sit in between the camera. The camera is now between my legs for optimal viewing pleasure. Optimal viewing, yes, and all that stuff. But let us see. Camera shadow. Yes, there's a camera shadow, unfortunately. Can't really do too much about it unless I cover, the whole camera. So let me see if I'm able to actually cover that light. I have to bring up my viewer over here for the live stream first, make sure I'm not completely killing things and all that. Oh, yes, I can sort of loom over the camera, although it's not really working well. You can see our strange shadows right now. Well, I'm not really sure how else I can do this. If I perhaps move it to the side, it might be a little bit better. Yes, you can see my feet there right now. Let's see. Perhaps tilt this up slightly over here. Alright, well, there's still a camera shadow, a little bit of a camera shadow. I can't really do too much about that. But at least you will be able to see without, the big camera shadow in the way. And yes, I already see Aldia Carufus says in between the legs, Murr. Oh, goodness gracious. You youngsters and your imaginations. Anyhow, again, we have our patrons that have donated so generously to me so I may continue drawing this stream. And now I shall continue to reward them with their noodle doodles. And if you are interested in joining my patron list so that you too may receive some noodle doodles, there should be a link at the bottom of the description for this live stream so that you may visit my Patreon page. But now on with the noodle doodles. I shall attempt at least. I don't know where the shadow is coming from right now. Oh, I see where it's coming from. If I lean in and out like this. Because the light source is directly behind my head, so leaning in like this will create a shadow. In that case, let me move the camera back here. I might as well. And tilt it down and sort of half loom over the camera. This is not going to work well. Long, why must you be so big? Alright, let me see if going this way might work a little better. Okay, that works slightly better. We'll try doing it this way then. Alright, well, first drawing request that I have, once I pull it up, we'll be going in alphabetical order of my patron list, so first one shall be Altoriu. Now, Altoriu would like me to draw a picture of Altoriu and the Long Brothers in kimonos. Altoriu setting off fireworks to celebrate will be good, whilst Qing and Tien sit off to the side drinking sake all the while. Well, this is a very appropriate Chinese New Year piece to start off the drawing session with the noodle doodles, so I shall get right to it. Alright, let's see over here. We shall draw Altoriu first. I'll draw him on this side. And Altoriu will draw you in your noodle form, of course. When you are amongst noodle dragons, you shall be in your noodle form. There you are. You've got your horns back there. The horns are a little bit off, I apologize. And you've got the ridges coming down your muzzle, of course. Some more fins on that side. And you are in your kimono over here, although technically kimonos are part of the Japanese culture. In Chinese culture, our version of kimonos are called sanlao, which literally translates to god coat or god robe. Because, of course, it is the traditional Chinese gods that would wear such things. So, in fact, I shall draw my depiction of that, of course, being Chinese New Year, so it is more culturally appropriate, so to say. And over here, he's got like a string of firecrackers, fireworks. Either one of the two doesn't really matter. And he's got a string of them over here. And he sort of lit the fuse over here, and it's going all sparkly and all that. And soon it will explode in all of our faces and add plus 1000 die to our stats. And there are fireworks that he had also set off in the background as well. So I shall draw like a little firework shooting up over here into the sky. And we have fireworks also exploding over here in the background. These are not quite colored. These are the most colorless fireworks, in fact, that I have ever seen. But that is okay because, well, artistic liberty, I say. Artistic liberty. There we are. We've got fireworks being set off by Altoriu on that side. And on this side over here we have... Well, first we shall draw my big brother. There we are. More Eastern Dragons. Eastern Dragons are always good. More Eastern Dragons means more noodles. More noodles means more tastiness. I just made that up right now, but it sounds quite logical. Do you not agree? So we have my big brother first over here, and he's got his wine gourd over here, and he's also got his god robe on as well, his traditional Chinese robe. His feet are a little bit cut off, I apologize. Oop, I've actually drawn on the table. I'll have to rectify that later. There we are. Oh, I did not draw the tail on Altoriu. My apologies. We've got my big brother there, and I shall draw myself over here as well. Right beside big brother. And of course I've got my own sake, although I would be tempted to take the sake off my big brother because it always tastes better when it belongs to someone else. Chinese New Year is the time to eat a lot of dim sum. And for those of you that are familiar with the cuisine of dim sum, which originated in the Canton region, of course, southern Chinese folk would be familiar with it, whereas the other regions of China, not so much. But dim sum is essentially a lot of bows of different assortments and a lot of different steamed products, of course, being served all at a time, pretty much at the same time, and it's like a mini buffet at your table. Very, very fun to do. Very, very joyous time to do dim sum. If you've never had dim sum before, I highly recommend you try it at least once. So it's a little bit cramped over here. Perhaps I'll draw a few more fireworks going off on this side as well. So here's another firework thingy that's being set off right now into the sky. And we've got a few more explosions going on. Alright, over here I shall sign for I'll tell you. There we are. And then Tien La, of course. And perhaps I shall point, this is Tianlong over here, although that is obvious, but I might as well. Tianlong La, yes, because that dude over there signed it. Right there, that dude right there. Alright, well, I've got that one. There you go. That's for you, Otoyu. It is Otoyu setting off some fireworks, whilst King and Tien set off to the side, drinking the sake all the while. There we are. I shall set that down there for now. I shall be sure to collect that afterwards, as I do with all my drawings. And for those of you that do not know, the drawings that I do for all of my patrons are also mailed out to them as well. So not only do they get a noodle doodle done for them on the spot during the wine stream for donating as a patron, but they also get the actual physical copy mailed to them. So you can have your own personal collection of artwork by Tianlong. Alright, well, next we have... We have... BT Werewolf is next. We were supposed to have Arabian Darkstone, but Arabian I do not think is joining us tonight, much to my dismay. But I hope that Arabian will join us in the next stream at the very least. So BT Werewolf has submitted me a drawing request asking, seeing it is now a year since Grandpa Kage passed away, could you draw something for Uncle Kage and Grandma Kage to raise their spirits? I'm sure you can come up with something nice to make them smile. Oh, isn't that sweet of you, BT Werewolf? Well, as a backstory for those of you that may not know, Grandpa Kage, which was Uncle Kage's father and Grandma Kage's husband, passed away peacefully last year on January 25th, 2016, and the anniversary of that day just passed 2 days ago, and of course it was a little bit of a somber day, 3 days ago rather. But at the same time, we are celebrating, of course, the positive times and trying to bring about a little bit of cheer, especially on this very day. So I am more than happy to accommodate such a request, such a noble request, I may say myself. So, in that case, let me see what I can do. Something that would be very fitting of both Uncle Kage and Grandma Kage, or rather, well, Grandpa Kage, as I may say, Big Sam, Sam Conway Sr. Let me see. Well, as many people who watch Uncle Kage's wine stream would know, Sam Conway Sr. was the happiest when others around him were happy. And that is something that I very much understand and relate to. So, in that case, I shall draw the happy company of myself, Uncle Kage, and Grandma Kage, and then Grandpa Kage, all in each other's good company and enjoying it very much. Because, again, I think that he would very much be enjoying himself in the company of those that are themselves very, very much enjoying each other. Yes, that made sense. That made very much sense. English is good. I am much good at English. So with that being said, let us get to work. So, I shall draw, first of all, I shall draw Uncle Kage over here. Uncle Kage, he's got his, of course, the cockroach over here, and he's got his nice necktie going on. And he'll sort of have a sort of like a Hanna-Barbera thing going on, where it's only the collar and the tie. It's not so much, the whole lab coat and whatnot, because he's clearly on his off day right now. So he does not need to have a lab coat to signify that he is at work or whatnot. This is a holiday for us. So I guess Uncle Kage is also sort of, he's going au naturel himself. Perhaps I'll put some pants on him. Okay, fine. I'll give him some pants. There we are. He ain't going au natural anytime soon, and I guess that's his shirt. There you are. That's Uncle Kage. A sight that you will see very much often is him in his, his very nice freshly pressed dress shirt and tie, and his, very freshly pressed slacks or dress pants. And he has his glass of wine, and right beside him, of course, he's got Grandma Kage, who is apparently as tall as he is. Yes, Grandma, you are officially as tall as your son now, because I have said so. Yes. And I shall give Grandma Kage her glasses, and Grandma Kage likes to be drawn as a wolf, so I shall draw her as a wolf. There you are. And Grandma Kage's hair is always kept very immaculate. It seems that half of the time that I see Grandma, she's always complaining about how her hair is not done properly, or something to that effect, and she looks absolutely splendid. So I know you're still watching, Grandma. Every time you complain about your hair, you are talking out of your mind, because I think your hair looks fine every single time. So I shall draw Grandma Kage's hair. It's sort of curlier at the back. There you are. And she's got a very nice blouse on, or polo shirt of some sort. And her arm is a little cut off camera, but that is fine. And of course, Grandma Kage, well, I guess I'll give her the bubble legs that I usually give. So it's more appropriate now. She is stepping on a stool. In fact, there, that's Grandma Kage's stool or bench that she's standing on, so she can be as tall as Uncle Kage. There, that's more realistic. There, because if you see Grandma Kage in person, she's like a good foot lower, shorter than Uncle Kage. But regardless, now she's the same height as him, so she can smack him back down to earth. And of course, she also has her glass of wine over here as well. And her glass is like much larger than Uncle Kage's because, well, she has to show her son how it's done. There you are. It's like a super big glass right there. And then you have to have me, of course. And I'm all the way in the back over here. And because I am a celestial dragon, I am a very, very large and in charge dragon. I am towering over them both. I have suddenly gained a growth spurt, and now I am much taller than both of them, especially Uncle Kage, or I'm just standing on a very tall bench. I don't know. And I know that Uncle Kage dare not argue with this. After all, he does know what happens with youngsters that try to argue with the Celestial Dragon's will. There we are. We've got the super-sized Tien Long. Yep, there we are. There's the ears. The horns are getting cut off because, well, I am much too tall in this particular drawing. So in that case, I will have over here a very large gourd that I am holding. This is my sake gourd right here, with my best brew in it, of course. And, well, you can't really see my legs in the background because I am behind Kage and Grandma. And over here, we have none other than the big man himself. We have Grandpa Kage over here, and he will be drawn as a wolf as well. Sort of a wolf. And he's sort of got a nice, short, almost military-style buzz cut over here. After all, Grandpa Kage did serve in the military. He was part of the Korean peacekeeping mission in the 50s. There we are. Give him his wolfish muzzle. And let's see, he is standing tall and proud as any southern gentleman would, because, well, that's what he was. Grandpa Kage himself was a southern gentleman, and he shall be seen as such. None other than a southern gentleman. One of the finest that I had the pleasure of knowing, and I wish, of course, I had gotten to know him a little bit more, spend more time. But, as I said, it is about the quality, not the quantity, as much as we wish it is more quantity. And somewhere out there I know that Grandma might be getting a little emotional. And if that is the case, then I apologize to you, Grandma. But, well, I do honor the requests of my patrons very, very much seriously. And I thought that this was a very sweet one. So, let me see if they've responded in the comments. I've not seen. Let me see. Let me see. I cannot see the comments. There we are. Well, I've seen Uncle Kage goes, hey! And I believe that's when I had made Uncle Kage the same height as Grandma Kage. But again, it is very much fitting. And, well, there we have it. We have Uncle Kage over here. We have Grandma Kage over here. We have the apparently Viking like Tien in the back, because I have grown about 3 feet taller than I actually am when I'm in human form. And then we have all of us toasting to the one and only Southern gentleman, Sam Conway Sr., Big Sam. And I shall say this is for BT Werewolf. There we are. I shall sign over here. Tianlong Ra. There we are, BT Werewolf. This is your request. It is a picture of what I would imagine would make both Uncle Kage and Grandma Kage, well, a little more cheerful, given the context of things. And I do hope that, again, there are no sad feelings or remorseful feelings so far. There are only the good memories, the good times, in which we can see with this little noodle doodle. So that is not only for BT Werewolf, but that is also for Uncle Kage and for Grandma Kage, who I know are still watching. So that is for you two. Thank you very much for the lovely request, BT. I shall now leave that over on the side. There we are. Now moving along, let us see who we have next. And I see that Kage has responded as well. You are a darling, BT. And I do wholeheartedly agree. That was a very, very sweet gesture, BT. All right. Let us see. There we are. Alright, next up we are jumping from B all the way down to the S's. Well, goodness, we seem to have a shortage of Patreons between the letters of C to R. Well, in that case, we shall just try to make it up with the S's and down. So first off, we have Silent Dawn. Draw me a 2017 cock. Rooster! 2017 Rooster fighting and beating the 2016 Year of the Monkey out of the way. Perhaps the monkey has knives, perhaps the cock has scalding soup. Silent Dawn, I don't know if it's the fumes you may be inhaling in that garage, but what kind of sick, twisted imagination do you have? Goodness gracious, I thought youngsters were bad. Alright. Let's see what we can do. So, the general idea we have here is the New Year cock, Rooster, beating the crap out of the old monkey that is, well, now retiring and getting out of the way until 12 years from now. Or 11 years, rather. Alright, let us try this then. We have the super mean, no mercy chicken whatsoever. I don't really know how to draw a cock, but there we are. We have this going on right here. I don't know if that's quite the shape of a chicken. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this looks like a chicken head of some sort? I guess it's passable. Alright, so we've got the chicken over here, and it's got its chicken wing, or its feather, something like that. It's got its little beard, or whatever it is down there. And it's got its feet, the chicken feet, which the Chinese people love. There we are. And we've got this big, beefy, bulging arm right here, punching the crap out of the New Year's monkey. There we are. Alright, so yes, we've got this big, beefy arm punching the New Year monkey out of the way. I don't know if that is a monkey or whatnot. Not quite sure at the moment, but we'll pretend that it is a monkey of sorts. And the monkey has knives again, I think it was, so we'll have the monkey carrying a knife, but the chicken has a big beefy arm punching the crap out of the monkey, so screw your knives, monkey. I've got a big beefy arm. Lesson to you kids, big beefy arms beat knives. Alright, and the monkey over here is sort of like, oh, I just got punched in the face. Maybe it's time to leave for the next 11 years. And the chicken over here is armed with, perhaps I'll give it a backpack. And the backpack on the back has a, big, fat laser cannon of doom and gloom, or a minigun, I guess. Yeah, I'll give it a minigun. There we are. The chicken here has a minigun of doom, and it's like belt-fed as well. So I better, I should draw the bullets over here. And the bullets are coming out of somewhere. I guess it's coming out of the chicken. They're chicken feed bullets, yes. It is a belt-fed machine gun shooting out chicken feed, and it's not really doing anything because, well, when you've got a big beefy arm like this chicken does, why would you need anything else? And of course over here we've got the sound effects, and it's like pow right in the face, so you've got to draw the big pow over here. There we are. Big fat pow. There we are. We've got our New Year's chicken beating the crap out of the old year's monkey with its big beefy arm. The monkey is armed with, its two knives. They look more like butter knives that you'd get at an IHOP. Versus the chicken with a Gatling gun that is belt-fed with chicken grain on its back. Well, chicken feed, rather. Well, I think that is an appropriate analogy of what just happened today, so, in that case, I could probably decorate it a little bit more. Let's see what else I could put. Maybe I should put, like, a cloud up here again, because, this is happening in the outdoors. We have a cloud, and we have a sun, and for anyone that's watched the stream before, you know exactly what I'm about to put on the cloud and the sun. That's right, I'm putting faces on them. And of course the sun over here is going, oh my goodness, and the cloud over here is going, oh my goodness. Because they can't believe the chicken just sprouted a big beefy arm like Trogdor and just beat the crap out of that monkey. There we are. And this is for Silent Dawn. This is from Tien. There we are. That is, one more preview. That is for you, Silent Dawn. That is your chicken smacking the crap out of a monkey for Chinese New Year 2017, indeed. The monkey will get its revenge in 11 years. Ah. Alright, let us see. Well, I have another sheet of paper right there. Perfect, there we are. We're moving quite well, I say. I would say that about halfway done. We still have, I believe, 3 more requests after this. Yes, I am correct. We have 3 more. So, next one we have is from Silvergatomon. Silvergatomon would like me to draw Tien accidentally activating the Rooster Talisman from Jackie Chan Adventures. Well, that is quite a specific request, but one that I shall try to do to the utmost of my ability. So, for those that do not know, the Rooster Talisman from Jackie Chan Adventures gives its user the ability to levitate. In other words, to float in air. So, well, with that being said, let's see what I can do. So, of course, we have myself and I'm a little surprised, to say the least, because it's like, the fuck? There we are. And then we've got the horniness. The horniness. There we are. Horniness. More horniness. There we are. We've got that horniness going on. We've got Tien holding on to. I don't really know what the talisman looks like. I do not really have any references on me at the moment for a chicken talisman. Perhaps I should just have him holding a piece of chicken. And we shall draw a shadow down here that indicates Tien's shadow on the ground. He is indeed levitating. Perhaps he is just too drunk and he imagines he's levitating. So, he has his talisman. Again, I do not quite know what the talisman looks like. Well, in that case, I shall just draw a cock. Alright. I have drawn a cock. There we are. That is my cock. My chicken talisman, and it's got a, a pendant. It's sort of like a pendant around it. There we go. I've got this chicken talisman, and it's sort of like... And it's given me this magical power to levitate off the ground. I do not know if this is accurate to the show, but regardless, it has the same effect, which is making Tien go the fuck. There we are. That is Tianlong accidentally activating the chicken or rooster talisman from Jackie Chan Adventures, and I hope it is somewhat accurate to what you were intending me to do, Silvergatomon. Alright. Over here we have 4 Silvergatomon. SGM for short. From Tianlong La. There we are. That is your doodle doodle for the month of January. And next up we have Trottlebear, my newest patron of the drawing level. So thank you very much for your patronage, Trottlebear, and I shall try my best to honor it with a noodle doodle of the noodliest quality. Alright, now Trottlebear would like me to draw a pic of a bear cooking a meal for me. Well, isn't that sweet? Well, let us see. Trottlebear wants me to draw a bear cooking a meal for me. Okay, well, first of all, we need the bear. And just like the bear I drawn for Trottlebear the last Grumpystream, which was in December, this will be sort of the closed-mouthed, very concentrated bear, because he is cooking an exquisite meal, an absolutely exquisite meal for Tianlong, so he cannot be disturbed while he's doing so. And he looks quite quite professional, I might say, while he's cooking. He's even whistling out a tune while he's doing it. And there we are. And he's got his little, not little, but he's got a chef hat on. We shall give him a chef hat because he is cooking a meal. He must look like a consummate chef, of course. Perhaps he's a French bear now, yes. And he's got a nice pan here. Perhaps he's even double fisting pans over here. Yes, he's got two pans going on at once, like a master chef would. There we are. We've got like a nice juicy steak in there. Very nice. Only the highest quality for Tien. Got something else going on in there. Of course, we have to have the stove over here. Got the nice stove top, so of course things are actually cooking. And we've got a chef's jacket over here as well. And the chef's also got his apron too, so he does not get himself dirty. And perhaps we'll put the range hood over here. And I can imagine Uncle Kage jumping when I mention the word range hood. I'll say it more. Range hood, range hood, range hood, range hood. For those of you that do not know, the previous weekend Uncle Kage had quite a ball installing a new range hood for Grandma Kage. He even had to enlist the help of one of his dear friends, Chitabengo, and they had spent, what was it, a good 7 hours or so under all hellish circumstances installing this for Grandma Kage. Oh, I wish I would have been there. What a fun time it sounds like. But nevertheless, we have the professional bear chef over there. And we have Tianlong over here, of course, and I am enjoying a nice glass of wine while I am waiting. There we are. We've got my noodles coming down here. There we are. So I am sitting here at this table awaiting my succulent meal, my juicy meal of, lots of protein and no greens whatsoever. Just thinking about it makes me want to go and get some protein. Perhaps I'll go to the nearest mall or something. Oh, are malls even open at this hour? I believe there's some are still. Perhaps I'll do that after the stream. Very, very nice. Yes, cooking a nice succulent meal. And you can see the aromas floating up. And you've got the nice fireplace in the background, very romantic and whatnot. Nothing romantic about me, of course, but the scenery, that is. There we are. Very, very nice. And, well, candlelight, because, yes, candlelight dinner, again, very romantic, although it is just a dinner for one, sadly. So, see, nothing too romantic about a dragon. Ah, there we are. We have a bear over here. We have the master chef, Trottle Bear, cooking a lovely meal for Tianlong over here. And perhaps Tianlong will be wearing a tie as well. We can pretend that this is a nice restaurant, so of course Tien is one to abide by the rules. There we are. Alright, there we are. That is for Trottle Bear. That is a bear cooking a nice meal for Tianlong. So I shall sign it down here. It's lesson 2. For Trottle. There we are. And then Tianlong. There we are. That is for you, Trottle Bear. A bear a bear cooking a lovely meal for Tianlong. There we are. Alright. us continue. Let us continue. We have 2 more drawings to go for this current round for January. First one going to Volt Ashcore of the 2, and then we have 1 more after that. Again, we are going in alphabetical order, and we are all the way down to V. Right, Volt Ashcore would like me to draw. One side of the image has New Year's decor while he holds a glass of wine, and the other side has Chinese decor and he has a glass of sake. Double alcohol means double happy Tien. Okay, well, I guess I could do that. This would be a little bit of a challenge, do 2 themes in the same setting, or the same, sort of space, but I shall do my best. There we are. I shall do my best. So over here, same thing. I've got Tianlong myself over here, and I'm sort of whistling out a merry tune myself because I'm happy. I'm so happy. No, I'm not. I am lying. I am a grump. I cannot be happy. There we are. All right, now. And over on this side, we have... Over on this side, we'll do the New Year's, so I'll put the wine glass on this side. It's a fat wine glass, so that has to be a red in there. Although I'm not a very big fan of red, sadly. And over on this side, we have my sake good. It seems to be running out of ink on this pen, unfortunately, and I don't have a spare handy. Well, I hope I'm able to get through both of these drawings in time before the quality really starts to run out. I do apologize for both of my patrons that I'm drawing for, which would be Volt and Warriors Marshall. But, well, rest assured, you shall still receive drawings nonetheless. On this side over here, we have Chinese New Year decorations. So again, we'd have strings of firecrackers hanging down here. There we are. We have strings of firecrackers, and we have the banners of fancy Chinese stuff that goes on. I'll pretend that's Chinese text over there. Alright, what else do we have going on? We have the freebie calendars, because every Chinese household has to have a freebie calendar that they get from a restaurant or a supermarket. There we are. Calendar. Calendar, yes, without an R. Calendar. There we are. So that's one side is Chinese New Year. The other side we have New Year's decorations. What would New Year's decorations be like? I'm not sure if you mean New Year's or Christmas, because frankly I'm not quite sure what constitutes as New Year's in terms of decorations. Perhaps something like Goodbye 2016, I guess, like a balloon over here that says, you know, like, Goodbye 2016, perhaps. A balloon of something like that. There we are. It's a balloon, so it's going to be held by a string, something like that. And perhaps we have, like, a big, massive firework over here, although technically there are fireworks for both events, and the Chinese invented fireworks, in fact. And perhaps a big bottle of booze, because, well, that's what you celebrate the New Year's with, is a big bottle of booze. I'm not sure what kind of booze it is. We'll just call it booze. Alcohol, that's all that really matters. And over here, I guess we'll put another sake grid just to even it out. Can't be having one outdo the other. There we are. So we've got double happiness for Tianlong. So Tianlong has both his wine and his sake for both New Year's and for Chinese New Year's. There we are. So this is for Volt from Tianlong La. Alright, I think we can keep going. We can keep going. And there's your preview again. That is for you. That is for Volt Ashcore. And we have, last but not least, Warriors Marshall. And again, I am hoping that I can make it through with this pen. And I do apologize if the pen quality will be slightly less. Alright, let me first get rid of this other pile of paper that is sitting on my lounging spot. There we are. Alright, here we are. Last but not least, Warriors Marshall would like me to draw Qinglong enjoying his favorite sake during the Chinese New Year. Well, a very fitting request, of course, to end off my current round of patron drawings is my big brother enjoying his sake. I can do that very, very well. Alright. First is my big brother, of course. There we are. Big brother always looks happiest when he is able to enjoy his drink in peace and quiet without his little brother adoring him or the wine thief stealing from him. For now, that is. For now. Alright. And my big brother, of course, goes into bow mode whenever he is drinking his sake. There we are. So we shall draw my big brother as a bow. There we are. This is Qing Bao, not Qinglong. This is Qing Bao. Everyone all together now. We can say it together. Ready? Qing Bao. Bao. B-A-O. Bao. There we are. That's Qing Bao with his sake. And he is sort of reclining back in a nice reclining chair, I suppose. It's a very nice reclining chair, I suppose. And of course it's Chinese New Year, so we have more fireworks being launched up and around. More things exploding in the air. Big magnificent booms all around. And I know my big brother also has his own obligations for Chinese New Year as well. So if my big brother happens to, be exiting early, which I don't know if he has or not. I have not been looking at the chat. I do not blame him. I know that it is a very busy time for both of us. So that is my big brother reclining with his sake, enjoying the Chinese New Year's fireworks. And I'll give him a little heart to show how much he enjoys it. There we are. This is for Warriors from Tien Long La. There we are. Managed to complete it without the pen completely cracking out on me. There we are. I'd say that I managed to successfully complete that round with ink to spare. There. That is for you, warriors. That is Ting Long, my big brother, enjoying his sake with Chinese New Year decorations or fireworks, in this case, in the background. Alright then. Let's see if I can readjust that. Alright, 1 second. Ah, goodness, darkness, shaky cam. Uncertainty everywhere. Ooh, that's a crotch cam right there. We do not want a crotch cam. Not again. No more crotch cams after last month. Oh, that's a falling camera. I do not want that either. But what happened there? Ah, there we go. Slightly better. Now the camera is tilted, so it sort of looks drunk now. That's looking at the lights now. Oh, pretty light. Almost there. Let's try adjusting this a little bit more. There we are. That looks much better now. Yes, now we're back in operation. I shall move this back slightly. Here we are. Almost. And now it's better. There we are. Well, thank you very much, my dear audience, for bearing with me to see my patron drawings through as always. And for all of my patrons, I hope that you enjoyed each and every one of your contribution gifts. And as always, I shall send them out probably around mid-February this time around, as soon as all of the patron payments process. But now moving on from that, let me quickly close this document over here. I do not believe I've missed anyone except for Arabian Darkstone, who I shall catch up with later. I do not want to save that document. Alright, now, let us continue with this stream. What are people saying? Oh, well, before any of that, I have not had a single sip since I had began that drawing. So, let me rectify that. Very, very nice. It is still slightly chilled, which is better than nothing. So I shall not make any more waste with it and drink it while it is still chilled. Ganbei, my friends, ganbei. Goodness gracious, that is good stuff. Actually, if you would bear with me for a third time, I do apologize to my audience, but I will need just one quick minute again while I make a quick adjustment to something over there. It seems that I have my wine cap escaping from me. Once again, I do not want to risk my wine spilling, but if you'll bear with me another minute, I shall be right back. Back to the loading screen. Where is it now? No, that is not it. That is not what I want. There it is. I shall be right back. I apologize for that once again, my audience, my dear, dear audience. It seems that tonight on Chinese New Year. Oh, no, cut, I had to untangle my tail, unnoodle my tail from myself. But yes, it seems on Chinese New Year I am still prone to the many sort of slip-ups. Many slip-ups that the camera's too high there. That may plague me on any other stream as well. Still a little too high. Let me move this back slightly. And then tilt that down. And now it's a little tilted. That's very tilted. That's very much more tilted. A little better. I cannot get this camera thing to work properly. This dastardly human technology garbage nonsense. I need a human here. I need another Asian here in order to help me fix my camera. We'll deal with this for now. This is good enough for me. Perhaps I'll just do the this part of the stream, replacing, or rather replicating, the French girl pose as you see above me over here. Yes, the unnamed French guardian dragon over here. I shall now attempt to recreate the same sort of mood with myself right now. Draw me like one of your celestial dragons. Now it's your turn to noodle doodle this. Yes. Or perhaps I could even pose like this, for example, and have one of you just, draw this or sketch it out or even turn it into a full-fledged oil painting. Just like that. Yes, you can have a moment to screenshot this. That's all you get. Alright, there you are. And that is now all over the internet. Thank you, youngsters, for making me a meme now. Tilt that up just a bit more. Just a bit. And there come the flood of comments. Oh, yay. Tien, don't do that. Mom is staring quite fixedly at the screen. Well, I can't help it if the woman has good taste. After all, what was it she said during that Halloween stream we did? I can't help it. Celestial dragons are sexy. Anyhow, yes, back to the chat box. Swats with newspaper, says Chingwa. Wait, I'm Big Brother, don't swat me with a newspaper. That's not very nice of you. I thought you were a loving sort of Big Brother, not the traditional Chinese New Year Big Brother that goes like, it's Chinese New Year after all, Big Brother. Adore me, Big Brother. Let me see. Volt Ashcore says, someone please got that. Yes, Volt, if you haven't noticed, the whole internet got that moment very much. If it was not Chinese New Year, then I don't know what else might have happened. But at the same time, I am a very dignified celestial dragon, or so I like to think, so I do understand that there are limits to what I can do, one of those being not to twerk on camera, as much as Silver Gatomon might say otherwise. Let me see. And yes, cheers to you too, furry trainer. Gande. Yeah, it's good stuff indeed. Definitely a lot more tolerable than whatever Chinese demon-slaying spirits there are out there, and believe me, I've tried all of them, none of which can come up to the quality of Japanese sake. I hate to say it, but Japanese sake reigns supreme any day over Chinese alcohol. The Japanese really do know how to make something refined and pure. And frankly, their taste in alcohol is a lot more refined as well. Let me see. Silly time long Dragon Smash keyboard. Big brother, are you okay? Have you been getting into my bottle? Is that you that's secretly ingrained into my wine glass here and not the bottle? Or not Tianlong, rather. Is that you that has placed your essence, your double agent, in my glass and secretly drinking it? I think my big brother himself might be getting a little, happy over there, little double happiness, wouldn't you say, big brother? And Altori says you'll end up breaking that if you keep doing it. No, I won't. This is a Tianlong glass. It is made to withstand the mighty power of Tianlong, and therefore means that I can do whatever the heck I want with it, even if it includes sitting on it. Although I wouldn't try, because that would be a waste of sake. No, 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 no. Truly good to the last shot. No, no, no. Let us see. Someone had said, what? I missed that comment up above. I am making it my mission to get you to twerk eventually. No, Silver Gatomon, no, it will not happen. No, no, no. Twerking was so 2012, whereas, other things such as that youngster jab, as they called it, was 2016. Let us leave those back in the years that they were found in and not speak of them again. Bah. I had actually been amongst other furry creatures earlier today, and some of them were being asked by all those impudent human youngsters to do the dab, as they call it, and, well, I am unfortunate to say that they obliged to those human youngsters, and right then and there I felt it very compelling to, walk up to those humans and eradicate their existence. I feel quite strongly about the state of how youngsters and, their behavior and their culture is these days, and as a celestial dragon that cares about order and appearance, well, unfortunately, there isn't much I can do when they don't listen to me. All the youngsters these days, I try to come up to them, and, I am very big and imposing and impressive, a majestic celestial dragon. I have to tilt the camera down so I make it look so. Or maybe I have to do this. I'm a little higher. There we go. Yes, see, I'm a very big and imposing and celestial dragon. As I, yes, fear me, I am Tianlong, and I command you to stop being such an insolent youngster. And of course, they don't listen whatsoever because they are an insolent youngster. Let's tilt that down a little more. There we are. So unfortunately, if the youngsters aren't listening to me, I can't do too much about it. Actually, let's get that down slightly more. There, that's better. Now I can go back to lounging like a French dragon. There we are, lounging like a French dragon. I like it like that. Now I can't see the chat, however. Every time someone dabs around me, I actually die a little inside, says Volt Ashkor. Yes, that is the sort of feeling that I get as well, unfortunately. The young generation these days that are I don't even know how to describe it. They're simply killing the hope that I have for humanity. And yes, a Celestial's hope for humanity counts quite a bit, seeing as how we control many elements of humanity. I hate having to keep on readjusting this camera. It's like I'm feeling my audience. See, it's like I've got my hands all over the camera, and then therefore I've got my hands all over you. I do not want any liability for that. I do not know what my audience is like. I do not want to be touching everyone that often. Anyways, but then again, as old as I am, you get it where you can. Anyhow, let me see. Volt Ashko says, might want to fix your tail up. Well, I mean, if you it's fixed. All right. If Feeling a draft down there, Tien, says Baron Sable. I don't know what you're talking about, Baron. I feel perfectly fine where I am here. All right. The chat is saying fart something. No, Baron, we're not saying things like that here. Thank you very much. And Furry Trainer says, I have had a wonderful night with you, but a bottle or more later, I have to go to bed. I'm old. Well, Furry Trainer, from one old person to another, I completely understand. Thank you very much for dropping by, and I hope you have a pleasant night. Let me see. Bruzo says, I am swimming in my own sweat. Way too much information there, Bruzo, but thank you for sharing. Let us see. It is currently 9:01 p.m., so it is just a minute after the 3-hour mark for this Grumpy stream. And I am starting to get the impression that right now it is slowly beginning to wind down, as a dragon does, as well as an old dragon does. So we'll see how long it keeps going. And I'll tell you what, as I always do with each stream, I shall continue until my glass is empty. Until my current glass is empty, that is. I think I shall save a little bit of that bottle for my own celebrations tomorrow. After all, as I said, Chinese New Year is 2 years. Well, not 2 years. I wish it was 2 years. It is 2 weeks long, and that means I have 13 more days to celebrate. So I must make things count. Oh, with that being said, let me take... Ow, my back. I've just... There we are. I got it. For all of you that are still here and still not sick and tired of Celestial Dragon yet, here's to you. Ganbei to all of you. Cheers, my friends. And let us see what else is happening right now. Tien, what is the most drunk you got in your existence? Asks Cam Long. Oh, we have another Long here. Hello, Cam Long. That is very interesting now that you mention it. The most drunk I've ever been in existence. Well, I guess there's two parts to that answer. The first one being the most, I guess you would say, play drunk I've ever been. Meaning, when I acted like I was completely inebriated and, out of my mind, but I was secretly in full control. I guess the first time and the only time I have been super play drunk inebriated, that everyone was, utterly convinced I was at Indie FurCon 2016. And I believe Silver Gatomon has this on footage on YouTube, rather. But it was during the Charity Whose Line Was It Anyways event, where we were playing the game Party Quirks. And Party Quirks, for those that do not know, is a game where we have one victim who plays the party host, and he has to guess the quirks of all of the guests that arrive. And my quirk for that game was, every time I am physically touched, not emotionally touched, physically touched, by someone on stage, I would be even more drunk, so increasingly drunk every single time I am touched. Of course, being an old dragon, I don't get much of that, so I can safely say I was sober. But I had to act as if I was inebriated, and, well, you'll just have to look up the video yourself. In terms of actual drunk, the most inebriated I've ever been. That is a very good question indeed. I believe that it would most likely, in terms of being completely smashed out of my mind, it may either be Midwest Fur Fest 2015, Or it would have been that one night at Anthrocon 2016 with one word in mind. Well, rather, three words in mind. Not one word, three words in mind. German room party. That was not a fun night for me whatsoever, and I believe the wine thief himself, Uncle Kage, was there too, after being kidnapped by a contingent of Japanese ninjas. And let me see what else is going on. Tien, have you seen Kage dancing on YouTube? Asks Bruzo. I have not. Actually, I take that back. I have not seen him truly dancing, which truly meaning that he was willfully dancing, like as if someone had asked him and he had in all consciousness said, yes, I shall have this dance. But in terms of seeing him sort of bust a move or bust a groove every now and then, I most certainly have seen him. After all, he and I, we travel a lot together, we have many adventures to tell together, and well, of course, it would not be surprising if I'd seen him bust a move or two, and let me tell you, he's still got it. Let me see. I would love to meet a great dragon in person, says Keverwolf. Well, Keverwolf, if you are able to make it to Fernal Equinox, Motor City FurCon, Anthrocon, Indie FurCon, or Eurofurence this year, I am planning to be at those 5 conventions, plus whatever else I may be able to attend. So again, those 5 conventions, if you're able to make it to any one of those, feel free to approach me whenever you see me. I promise I won't bite. Hard. Let me see. Altori says, every time I hear the word German, I just keep thinking of that one Kage quote, German elevator party! Yes, German elevator party indeed. Good times, good times. Yes, what a horrific story which keeps him awake at night, yes. And Indigo Ryu says, I'm meeting a great dragon on EF223. Well, I hope that great dragon doesn't meet you on EF23. After all, dragons tend to be rather large creatures, and therefore it would be very easy for them to demolish a hotel with a single footstep. I would rather hope he would meet you at EF23 before he steps on the hotel, that is. And Midori says, hi, Tianlong, first time at Grumpystream. Well, greetings, Midori. It is good to see you on the stream. Thank you for joining. And Uncle Kage says, it is more like white wine. Well, I'm not sure what is more like white wine, but if anything is like white wine, I shall sure be happy to enjoy it, or at least sample it. Let me see. Something meme. Oh, are you saying that the picture of me doing my French pose has turned into a meme already? My goodness, the internet works fast. The internet, the information superhighway, as all of the oldsters such as myself would call it. Well, I shall have another sip of my lovely Kiwami Junmai Daiginjo. And actually, this is one of the most affordable Junmai Daiginjos for its quality as well, I have found out too. And of course, because I have a Chinese heritage within the Celestial heritage, I have to sort of obligate myself to find that cheapness somewhere. So I find it with affordable bang for buck Junmai Daiginjos. So cheers to that. Cheers to being shamelessly Chinese celestial. Chinese celestial. I should call that Chilestial. Yes, I am a Chilestial dragon. Yes, Chilest. That would almost be like. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that thought. Yes. Anyhow, let us see what is happening. Draw Tien, like one of your French girls, yes, yes. Draw me like my unnamed French dragon up there, for which I will try to find a name for him someday. I had a few submissions earlier. Perhaps I'll have to scroll back through them and see which ones are appropriate enough. Let me see. Something, I has wine. Ooh, you has wine. I would like some wine. And sorry, new drinker here, asks the magic goggles. Well, the magic goggles, I'm sure that you've gotten your information from Uncle Kagi, but if you are a new drinker, please, the number one rule for all new drinkers that any experienced drunkard such as myself will tell you, take it slow. There's no point trying to shotgun, 6 shots of Jaeger and Jack Daniels in the same minute just because you want to seem like the biggest party animal there is. Take it slow. Get yourself adjusted to the feeling of being inebriated. In fact, don't even get to the point of inebriation. Just sample bit by bit, just for the palate, just for the flavor, and see how you react to it. And once you've found something that you seem to react well to, meaning there are no ill side effects whatsoever, then you continue increasing your consumption bit by bit. Until then, you are able to find out your true limit and stay within it. So that would be my advice to you if you're a new drinker, is take it slow. It is not a race and should never be a race. Every single time I've seen it turned into a race, there's always been a crash, and not a good one either. Let me see. Harold Wagner says you won't be nearly as drunk as the Grumpy Dragons. Now, Harold there also sheds some truth in that as well. And that meaning that we have experience. We have years of experience. We have, in my case, over 9,000 years of experience for drinking. And therefore, we know all of the rules and we know all of our limits. And believe me when I say that first one is the most important, even for the most experienced drinkers. In fact, those that are most experienced know exactly how fast to go. And that is why we know when we see someone taking it a little too fast, we just gently pat them on the back and say, "Look, buddy, have a seat. Take a break for a while." And Gumi Bjorn says, best advice to new drinkers, give the booze to us old drunkards and laugh at us as making fools of ourselves. Well, of course, you can also give it to us old drunkards so that we may sample it and approve of it or not approve of it, in which case we will spare you the pain by drinking the rest. And then we will be doing your liver a world of good. Do you see what we drunkards do, such as myself, such as Kage, such as all other old drunkards out there? We take one for the team. We drink as much as we do, so you don't have to. And it's that much more fun for you to watch us drink, is it not? Hell, you are here. Therefore, my point is correct. I imagine Uncle Kage, Grandma Kage, Tianlong, Qinglong, Two Griffin, and Alkali together with Cheetah, Tawny, Nightfox at the Astral Bar someday, says BT Werewolf. Well, I know that for a fact it will be myself, Kage, quite possibly Alkali. Grandma will also be there as well. I'm not quite sure about my big brother nor Two Griffin, but perhaps if the wind's all right one year, we shall all wind up at the same bar at the same time. And, well, I pray for the barman that is there. I pray for all the mercy upon his soul that night. And Camlong says instead of alcohol, I drink Earl Grey. Well, that is very nice to hear that you drink Earl Grey. Why not make your tea a little bit more interesting by adding some Irish whiskey into it? I'm sure it will give it a nice little kick. And let me see. Gumi says, wisely said, Tianlong. Why, thank you very much. Of course, it takes a drunkard to know one. And Cyranoid Saint says, did Tien channel his inner Chris Henson? Why don't you take a seat? Well, I did not channel no inner Chris Henson. Perhaps Chris Henson was channeling his inner Tien Long, or rather his inner grumpy old fart who's seen it all and done it all. Again, we speak from experience. We do not simply speak because we want you to watch us and listen to our sage advice while we drink and continue to blabber until I pass out and you all take screenshots and turn me into a meme. But we speak because we want to get a point across. And that point being, again, you cannot take it like a race. It is never a race when you're dealing with alcohol, because every race that involves alcohol ends up in a crash. Believe me, I've seen it many, many times. Let me see. And Silver Gatamon says, Tien, if you are able to make it to first quid, let me know. I'll try to get another bottle of Emperor as well for you. I shall let you know indeed if I am able to go. I am quite hopeful if I am. It is only a short puddle jump for me to go to first squared, and well, depending on whether or not my human slave is able to sneak away for that weekend, then first squared may be very possible for him, and he has already made plans for things such as accommodation if he is to make it to first squared. So, with that being said, I shall make it well publicly known if I am able to make it. Let me see. Tea suits you to a T. Why? Because it's tea. Hardy ha, very good, Bolt, very good indeed. And I see my big brother has also said, yay, tea, yay for tea. You see, out of the two, my big brother happens to be the more zen of us. See, he's the more balanced, more logical, pragmatic creature of us two. He's sort of got it all figured out in a nice zen pattern, such as what I'm doing. You know, the eternal balance of things. Whereas I am sort of just wine. Give me. That's more of what I am. Let me see. Uncle Kage says I am going to first squared. You can give the Sakipi. Silver Gatomon clearly said it was for me. Don't you dare try anything sneaky now, Mr. Wine Thief. BT Werewolf says, at Tianlong I owe you a bottle of wine and sake for the drawing, and I hope it arrives at Grandma Kage's house soon. Well, you are very kind, BT Werewolf. Perhaps what I can do is scan it and create a copy so that both of you may be able to have it at the same time. And if you would like, I can give the original to Grandma Kage, and I can send the copy to you. If you would like that, let me know in an email so I remember. Don't send an email to me. Do not send it in the chat box, as I will not remember that. But if you would like a copy of it, I shall make it so. Let me see. Tony Hinshaw asks, what are dragons scared of the most? I am most scared of this being empty. That's enough said. Nom. Tasty. My glasses, about 2 sips until it is empty, until it is devoid of all purpose and reason of existence. But we shall continue as best as we can until it is so finished, and then we shall retire for another month or so until the next Grumpystream. But once again, I am extremely grateful for all of you that have joined me on this lovely Saturday evening or Sunday morning, depending where you are. And I am eternally grateful for your company during this joyous Chinese New Year for a Celestial Dragon. So thank you once again, my friends. And M. Kenny says Qianlong is also scared of a certain wine thief. Is that right now? You really think I'm scared of a certain wine thief? Matter of fact, I believe it should be the other way around. After all, it's only one of us that is a big, imposing, looming, vicious, savage celestial dragon with eyes that spell only destruction for all those that oppose me. And Bruzo says, Tien, if both of us go to something, let me see. Tien says, if both of us go to Convergence or any con in Australia, I shall give you some booze, and same to you, Kage. Oh, that's very sweet of you, Bruzo. Perhaps one year I'll be able to make it to Australia. I have currently set my sights on Eurofins for this year, so it is unlikely I will be in Australia. But perhaps the coming year or the following after that, I will be able to make my way over. We shall see what happens. And let me see, Jeremiah Wallace says, Qianlong, I want to be a noodle dragon too, sir. Well, it is very, very simple indeed. All you need to do is you find a pair of noodles, put them on your face, be about a couple thousand years old, and voila, you are a noodle dragon such as myself. Very, very simple indeed. Yes, and I just gave you a monocle stare. Yes, not Qianlong, Uncle Kage. Yes, I have given you a monocle stare. I've given you a no monocle stare. I would have my monocle with me. Matter of fact, I probably should keep my monocle with me from now on, just so I can have those monocle stare moments. Here, I shall give you a squinty monocle stare. There, squinty monocle stare from a Chinese celestial dragon. There you are. How much is still left? Oh, I've still got 2 sips left in here. I shall have 1 sip and refrain from having the last one for at least a few minutes more. Good stuff. Good stuff. Mon uncle says, Aldiacarufus means mon uncle in French. Well, yes, indeed it does. Mon uncle. Yes, and Oncle Kage. Oncle Kage is Uncle Kage's official name in French, of course. The French version of Tien Long, what would that be? Le Tien Long, I believe it would be. Yes, Le Tien Long would be Tien Long in French. Le Tien Long. Yes, that is completely correct. It is correct because I have said so. Yes, that is the truth, and I am sticking with that. Hashtag alternative facts. Yes, and Volt Ashcore says that glass is at critical. Well, unfortunately, Volt, I would like to keep it not critical, but at the same time, a dragon is old, especially a dragon such as myself, and the show must come to an end at some point. But what matters is, again, you have enjoyed yourself one point to another in this show, and I am able to keep you entertained throughout it. And I'm able to keep myself nice and inebriated at the same time. It's a win-win situation for all of us. And yes, Gumi Bjorn spells it out correctly. Le Tien Long La. That is the correct French way of pronouncing it. Le Tien Long La. And Bruzo says, anyone screenshot that thing Tien just did with the wine glass. What thing with the wine glass? I don't know what you're talking about. This wine glass is simply just being a wine glass and, whatnot. And, just nothing terrible about this wine glass whatsoever. It's a wonderful wine glass. Oh, there goes the fabulously pink straw. There we are. Oh, put that back in there. And Luigi Man 5665 says, may we, and maybe others if they decide, give you a hug? Well, Luigi Man, my official response is wait until I am inebriated at a convention or any other event, and it will be much easier to get a hug from me. Otherwise, of course, I'm an old, irritable grandpa dragon, and, well, very hard to get hugs from those types. Let me see. Brenda Ferris says, I have very much enjoyed tonight. Well, you honor me with such words. I am simply an old drunken dragon, just shambling about his way, and I found myself in front of this camera and decided to have a couple drinks in front of it, and here you all were. So, it is you I have to thank for making me do things such as this. Hmm. And M. Kenny says, Qianlong, I'll be hugging you at Vernal Equinox if I see you there. Like I have just mentioned, please make sure that I am properly inebriated first, or if you'd like a better chance at hugging me, present a gift of inebriation, such as a bottle of sake or white wine. Both will do quite fine. Let me see. Let me enjoy the final sip of my Kiwami Janmai Daiginjo sake for the evening, and I shall enjoy it with much gusto as I can. I apologize. I got myself a little carried away there. Yes. Qianlong, I can bring some ice wine. Oh, that would work very well. Ice wine would be a suitable gift, M. Kenny. Please do, if you'd be such a good gentleman. And let me see. And Greek Yoshi says, Jen, I could try and bring you some Greek wine with me if you like at EF. I've never had Greek wine before, but if it's along the lines of a Riesling or sake, I wouldn't mind trying it. Let me see. And Aldia Karufa says, what a lucky straw. Well, as I said, when you're as old as I am, you take it where you can get it. Anyhow, and Gumi Bjorn says, sadly, a great stream is about to end. Thank you all for making it so wonderful, and have a good night or day, depending on where you are hiding in the world. Well, Gumi Bjorn, sadly, as you are correct, the stream must end soon. But it is not the end. Far from it. There shall always be more streams, whether you have to wait a month, a little more than that, or even a little less than that. But regardless, I hope that every single one of you had a good time while you were here. Let's see what sort of final things there are for my audience, whatever else they are saying right now. Silver Gatamon says, did anyone else just get really turned on by Tien's dragon moans there? I don't know about Silver Gatamon getting turned on by anything I do. Well, perhaps except for this. There we are. I'm sorry, I just made him cream. Anyhow, well, Uncle Kage says we need to get going, but we won't leave until Tien is done. Well, I could torture the poor wine thief by staying here forever, but I shall not do that in the presence of a lady, especially one of the likes of Grandma Kage. So with that being said, it is now approximately 9:30, almost there, but it is a good, appropriate time for me to end off the stream now that the sake has been finished and an old dragon's energy has been spent. So I shall close with a simple Sunbeam Phylon and wish all of you not only a prosperous new year, but a happy new year. May all the joys of 2017 find you and your loved ones, and I hope that I shall see you all again soon. Thank you all for coming to my Grumpy stream. Of course, I am your host, Qianlong, and I hope that I shall see you again soon in the next one. Safe travels to all, and see you next time.